It's Thursday, October 9th. Today, a stay of proceedings, the decision that allowed Peter Nygard to avoid a trial here in Winnipeg. Trade talks, what the U.S. Commerce Secretary is now saying about making a deal with Canada. And setting the record straight, Dolly Parton reassures fans about her health. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot in the next 3 hours, including Joseph Bernacki, who's going to the Green Action Center to give us some important reminders on little things that we could do every single day to help our planet as we battle, of course, climate change. So we're going to find out little things you could do in your own backyard, how you could get to work and make a real difference and a real impact. Maybe even just get up the bike, and it's been so nice weather-wise.
Okay,
oh yeah, let's talk about this.
Were these here? Okay, because
this is the first time.
I've been sitting here for a few minutes, and as you were talking, I looked over, I'm like, are there pumpkins there? And were they there yesterday or no?
No, this is new. Bob went and took a break for a little while, but look how gorgeous it is. We love it.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the colors
too.
The weather is beautiful. Let's take a look at that too. All right, 11 degrees. Ooh, that moon, that never gets old to me. I honestly love it. I mean, technically now it's going to be in its waning phase, but it still looks beautiful and very, very full. 11 degrees right now outside. We've got a stronger wind, though. You can see how quickly those clouds are moving past the moon as they're gusting out of the south to 45 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 61%. 11 degrees to begin the day. That is well above seasonal. Normal lows would be 1 degree. So we're 10 degrees above normal to kick things off this morning, and we're once again going to see a fair bit of sunshine today. You saw those couple of clouds out there, but thin enough that we will be enjoying blue sky and some brighter conditions today. Once again, across the far northern part of the province, that's where we might be dealing with those extra clouds again. Here's a look at the futurecast, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's really just that most northern stretch. Yesterday, more of central Manitoba and east central Manitoba had some extra clouds hanging over them. But even that has pushed into just that most northern stretch of the province. Now, with those clouds, there is the possibility of some scattered precipitation. That'll be for later on into the afternoon and continuing on into the evening time. Here in the south, it's going to stay quite clear. Northwestern Ontario might see some extra clouds, and they might creep into this very southeastern corner of the province at times today, but then clearing out again overnight. So things are going to be looking beautiful and bright for the rest of the week, and even northern Manitoba gets back to seeing some sunshine again. As far as heat goes, yeah, the temperatures will also be on the rise again. With 12 degrees being a normal daytime high, we're up to 18 today and mid to high teens throughout the rest of the week. It does still look like we're going to get that rain on Sunday and some cooler temperatures to follow as we're looking ahead to next week.
Thank you, Terry. Peter Nygard has avoided a trial here in Winnipeg after a provincial judge ordered a stay of proceedings. Police lost decades-old evidence, which a provincial judge says resulted in a breach of Nygard's right to a fair trial. CTV's Danton Unger walks us through what unfolded Wednesday in court.
Peter Nygard will not go to trial in Manitoba.
Well, obviously, he's satisfied with the outcome.
The 84-year-old former fashion mogul was facing charges of sexual assault and unlawful confinement. But on Wednesday, Judge Mary Kate Harvey ordered a stay of proceedings, saying Nygard's charter rights were breached after police lost decades-old evidence. There is significant prejudice to the ability of counsel to make full answer and defense, and therefore to the accused's right to a fair trial, Harvey wrote in her 41-page decision. Nygard was charged in 2023 after a woman came forward alleging she was locked in a suite and sexually assaulted in 1993 during a visit to Nygard's warehouse in Winnipeg. Court heard following the alleged assault, police conducted a brief wellness check with the woman, and a week later, RCMP took a full statement at her home in Vancouver. But any notes or records from those interactions are gone, either lost or purged from police databases in the 3 decades since. It is critically important that police forces take appropriate steps to ensure that communications with victims, even those that may be incomplete, not be purged from a police information storage system without appropriate evaluation, Harvey wrote in her decision, calling this one of the clearest of cases warranting a stay of proceedings.
There is a fundamental unfairness to an accused where the evidence of what what was said back then isn't available to them.
Nygard's lawyer Jerry Wiebe says she hopes the outcome of this case can lead to improvements.
I can understand how, when a case ends the way that this one did, it's unsatisfying or it feels unfinished because it didn't end with a determination on the merits. But I think this is a learning experience for everyone involved.
But trauma therapist Shannon Maroney, who has advocated for victims of Nygard, says she worries about the message this sends to survivors.
They see what even this particular victim in this case has gone through, and they might be thinking, I'm better off just keeping this to myself. And that, I think, is the one of the hardest parts to cope with this announcement.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In a statement, Manitoba's prosecution service says independent counsel is carefully reviewing the decision to assess if there is any basis for appeal. We also reached out to Vancouver RCMP for comment about the lost evidence and was told police will review the written decision and determine its impact on current operations. They add evidence collection and retention procedures have evolved considerably over the past 30 years. Nygard is currently serving an 11-year sentence in Ontario on 4 counts of sexual assault. However, the 84-year-old still faces sex assault charges in Quebec and extradition to the United States on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan, putting a pause on the 2-year war in Gaza. Families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza celebrated the news. So did Palestinians, who are hoping this will bring a permanent end to the war. Under the agreement, Hamas will release all 20 living hostages over the next couple of days in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will convene his government today to approve the deal. Once that happens, Israeli forces will begin withdrawing from the majority of Gaza to an agreed-upon boundary. Hamas would then have 72 hours to release hostages. Hamas says the deal would also allow for the entry of aid into the region. World leaders are praising the peace deal, including Prime Minister Mark Carney. He expressed relief that hostages will soon be reunited with their families, saying after years of intense suffering, peace finally feels attainable. He also called on all parties to implement the agreed terms swiftly. The federal Liberals have now tabled a new border bill after the first one was heavily criticized.
We felt that essentially putting forward a second bill that carves out the more contentious elements of Bill C2 will enable us to get swifter passage of the bill.
The original bill was called C2 and is known as the Strong Borders Act. It was tabled in June. The government faced massive pushback from both opposition parties and a group of more than 300 civil society organizations. It came after U.S. President Donald Trump accused Canada of poorly defending the shared border from drug smugglers. It was criticized for concerns over human rights and privacy. This new bill is mostly the same as the first bill, but with the most contentious elements removed. The public safety minister says he expects the new bill to garner broader support in Parliament. Country music legend Dolly Parton is breaking her silence over concerns for her health, triggered by canceled shows and a social media post by her sister.
There's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay. And I'm not ready to die yet. Hey,
Parton posted this video while on a set working on commercials. She said she was dealing with some issues linked to her husband's death in March when she neglected her own health, but is now getting treatment. This comes as her sister Frida apologized for sparking concern with a recent Facebook post asking for prayers for Dolly's health. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are headed to Edmonton for a Saturday matchup against the Elks.
He wants a deep shot instead.
With only 3 games to go in the regular season, the Bombers sit in 4th spot in the CFL's West Division. They beat the Elks in their first meeting of the season back in June.
You should be looking at your roster and trying to move it around on a weekly basis to give you the best chance every single week. And a lot of times that just amounts to continuity. And sometimes it amounts to, making some different changes based on a completely different game plan, you know?
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on the Edmonton Elks at Commonwealth Stadium Saturday at 6 o'clock. Here's a look at what's going on at Confusion Corner. It looks like a smooth drive in this part of the city so far this morning. If you see any problems out there, text them to us, please, at 10400. Let's go now to Joseph Bernacki, who is going to tell us all about what we could do every single day to be a little bit better for our planet. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, good morning. Welcome to your Thursday CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. We're outside today. We're live in Dawn to Go Park here in South Osborne, where we're going to be spending the morning with the Green Action Centre. They are a non-profit registered charity, of course. It's operated in Winnipeg since 1985. So earlier this year, they celebrated their 40th anniversary. They've got a number of great programs, especially notable in the month of October, being Walktober and Gotober. You're going to find out a little bit more about those programs, of course, those annual events later on in the 6 o'clock hour. And like I said, they're an organization that ultimately promotes green commuting, sustainable living, and a better environment for tomorrow and for years to come. So we're going to be meeting more of their team coming up shortly. So stay tuned for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, and you can really feel that south wind this morning. So it's pretty windy this morning outside.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Out on the rooftop.
What do you need me for?
How's it feeling there? Is it windy there too?
It is a little bit breezy up here. It's that south wind, as you mentioned. Nailed it, Joseph. All right, I'm standing out here, but we still got these above seasonal temperatures. I mean, we're coming in at double digits, and when you compare that to a seasonal low temperature of 1 degree, we're well above that at 10 right now. There's a bit of a breeze, yes, as we talked about. It's going to be pretty gusty throughout the morning hours right now, out of the south at times gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 63%. Now, just a few clouds out here right now. The moon, I can see it glowing through those clouds, but they're kind of just some thin clouds that we'll see off and on through the day today. Overall, mainly sunny conditions, but we're just waiting to see that sunshine. That won't even begin to happen until 7:41. Well, we'll get the glow in advance of it, but it's going to take its time rising today, setting at about 10 to 7, 6:50, I think, is sundown. But it's going to be a warm one, well above what you would expect. I mean, we're already in the double digits right now and headed to a high up into the high teens today. So beautiful, sunny, bright, and warm and breezy. Yes, but those winds, they should be tapering off later on into the afternoon as they start to shift a little bit out of the north later today. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
Good morning, it is 6:15. It's Canada's most wanted list, and Winnipeg is home for 3 of the country's worst offenders still on the loose. Number 4 is Trezor Horamberry, who is wanted for first-degree murder in Winnipeg. There's a $100,000 reward for anyone who helps police make an arrest. At number 7 is Chad Dandan, wanted for first-degree murder, kidnapping, and extortion. And Yusuf Abdul Qadir Ali is wanted for 2 counts of attempted murder and multiple firearm-related charges. He's number 17th. The Be on the Lookout program, or BOLO, released its 25 Most Wanted list Wednesday in Vancouver. It began in 2018 as a national public awareness campaign. The program encourages Canadians to stay alert and help locate fugitives. For this news conference, models resembling the suspects, complete with realistic-looking masks, took the stage behind the podium.
It may feel uncomfortable, especially if you're in this room today, to see the 25 most wanted fugitives in flesh behind me. And it should. On the one hand, these fugitives have been awarded BOLO top 25 spots, not only because of the major crimes they're charged with, but because they know they're wanted and they're actively evading arrest.
If you have any information about these 3 men, you're asked to call the BOLO tip line at 431-334-9160. On the same day, the Prime Minister returned to Ottawa after his face-to-face with Donald Trump Tuesday. The U.S. Commerce Secretary is making headlines for dismissing any prospect of a comprehensive auto deal with Canada or the kind of free trade regime North America has been used to. CTV's Mike Le Couture has more on the reaction and what else came up in that Washington meeting.
Prime Minister, did you and Mr. Trump agree to revive the Keystone XL pipeline?
Very good discussions on a wide range of issues, and I look forward to talking to Parliament.
A source with knowledge of the discussions in the Oval Office confirms reviving the Keystone XL pipeline was raised between the two leaders. The extension would bring Alberta crude into the U.S. It was in the context of more energy cooperation between the two countries, but was also linked to relief on steel and aluminum tariffs.
Certainly, it could be another one of the levers that increases North American energy security, and so it certainly warrants exploring.
South Bow is now the proponent of the project, and while the Canadian company isn't privy to conversations between the governments, a spokesperson tells CTV News, quote, South Bow is supportive of efforts to find solutions that increase the transportation of Canadian crude oil. While a pipeline may be possible, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is dismissing the prospect of an auto deal with Canada. Sources say at a Eurasia Group summit, Lutnick said the Americans could continue buying auto parts from Canada, but that's about it.
Auto pack's been around since the 1960s. You can't unscramble an egg, you have to make the omelet larger.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. On Parliament Hill, Opposition Leader Pierre Poilievre called out the Prime Minister for not getting a deal in D.C. and promising more investment in the U.S.
Mr. President, you have been warned. If you put in another tariff, he's going to give you yet another $1 trillion. This is the tough negotiator that we hired?
We have the best deal with the Americans. And the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal because we...
At that same Eurasia Group summit where Lutnick made the comments about the auto sector, Carney said there will be some bilateral deals alongside CUSMA, as there currently are, adding it's just one of the realities of these negotiations.
The union representing Canada Post workers is now taking aim at Purolator. Canada Post owns 91% of Purolator, and according to the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, the Crown Corporation has been pushing business its way. The union saying when postal workers were bargaining for fair wages and better working conditions, Purolator was offering small business customers steep discounts. Meantime, Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu is urging the union to respond to the Crown Corporation's latest offers, saying the two parties have a responsibility to find a way through the labor impasse. Postal workers have been on strike since September 25th, its third job action in less than a year. Soon enough, motorists will be driving through snow and ice, and Manitoba Public Insurance is opening registration for winter driving courses. The course is designed to avoid scenarios like these, giving students the knowledge and skills they need to drive safely in winter. It's part of MPI's Driver Z High School Driver Education Program. There are 2,900 seats available for the winter session, which runs from December through February. Registration begins on October 15th at 8 a.m., but first, new drivers need to register as an MPI customer at an MPI service center or Autopack broker. On the 15th, centers open early to help customers prepare for registration. You can also call the MPI Contact Center or its driver education phone line. The MPI website has all the information you need. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. Wellington Crescent is closed between Lanark and Academy. One lane will remain open on southbound McPhillips from Ems to North Point Boulevard. The southbound curb lane and northbound median lane are closed on Moray between Lodge and Portage. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400.
All right, we're looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Clear out there this morning for the most part. There's just a few clouds, but there's some very mild and above seasonal temperatures to kick off your morning. We're sitting in the double digits right now in Winnipeg at 10 degrees and seeing some similar temperatures. You'll either be just a degree below us or a degree or two above us. Off to the west, though, it is cooler yet. 5 degrees right now in Brandon, 6 in Roblin, 7 for Swan River. So a few places that are closer to seasonal, but still above 1 degree, which is normal for this time of year. Moving through northern Manitoba, and you're also above seasonal to kick off your morning with these mid to high single digits, and for some even pushing up into the double digits. I do want to show you, okay, satellite image doesn't have a whole lot going on here. I do want to give a shout out today, though, to the grade 4-5 class at Donwood School who corrected me yesterday with my school day. I was a little bit off the mark. I had yesterday as school day the wrong day. Anyway, I believe that we've got this back on track now with school day 3. So thanks to the grade 4-5 class over at Donwood School who watches every morning. Appreciate that. As you're getting settled into the classroom today, 11 degrees up to 17 by noontime and 18 the temperature when you're coming home from school today. Talk about a beautiful day ahead. It is going to be breezy this morning with some stronger winds to kick things off, but those winds should taper off later on into the afternoon. 18 today, 15, back up to 18. So we're ending the week and kicking off the weekend in the mid to high teens, but the sunshine disappears Sunday with some heavier clouds and some rain. That'll carry us into next week with some cooler temperatures to come with it. And what a stunning shot of the sun setting out in the Cross Lake area. Thanks to Lorna for the photo. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. Maybe a dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is relax. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word relax with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. A Toronto hospital has performed Canada's first ever transplant by reviving a heart that had stopped beating from a donor who had died. It's a procedure that could save even more lives and gives hope to those on an organ waitlist. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
And this is a letter from the doctor.
Robbie Sharon was just 40 years old when he died last year from a brain bleed doctors couldn't stop. His sudden death was a shock, but his parents were hopeful their son's legacy would continue through organ donation. But initially, they were told no.
I broke down. I said, no, it can't be.
Robbie was an ineligible donor in Canada because he wasn't brain dead. Here, hearts are only typically donated after brain death, where the heart continues to beat after the patient is declared deceased. The technology to keep a heart viable after it stops beating exists, but Canada didn't have it. In the end, Robbie was able to donate his heart, but it went to a recipient in the United States.
It's a legacy. It's something that will go on for generations to come now. From this point forward, Canada now has that technology and is working, saving lives as we speak. And it all started with Robbie.
Last month, doctors at Toronto General Hospital were able to perform the surgery that would have kept Robbie's heart in Canada. The heart transplant from a donor whose heart had stopped beating, a first in this country.
This is a vulnerable time for a heart. So we have to take that heart out and through special techniques, preserve it, bring it back, and put it in the person and hope that the heart starts beating.
Doctors believe this could increase the number of heart transplants by 30%, helping the nearly 1 million Canadians living with heart failure.
It looks like there is no difference between the outcome of the hearts of people who've received hearts from a traditional brain dead donor versus circulatory dead donor.
Right now, who is eligible for this procedure depends on where they live, as doctors don't want the donated heart to be outside of the body for more than an hour. But there is hope as new technology becomes available. Hearts will be able to travel anywhere in Canada, saving many more lives. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
All right, it is beautiful outside this morning and mild at 10 degrees. It's breezy, though. Those winds out of the south shaking our cameras. They're gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 63%. So yes, clear right now. That'll mean plenty of sunshine at 7:41. That's how late we're going to wait for the sun to begin to rise, although with these clear conditions, we'll start to see the day glow a little in advance of that. Not the case, though, across the far northern part of the province. That's where the heavier clouds are going to be today. Otherwise, pretty clear across the entire province, and a warm one, too, expecting a high of 18 degrees. And these winds that are going to remain strong throughout the morning should be tapering off and shifting somewhat into the afternoon. But this morning's winds could at times be gusting to 50 kilometers per hour as we head to a high of 18 degrees, well above normal, 12 degrees a normal daytime high, and 1 degree a seasonal low. We've been in the double digits this morning, but we're not going to stay quite that mild this coming night, dropping down to about 4 with those winds that will have shifted by then out of the northwest at about 20 kilometers per hour. Still with the clear conditions overnight, that'll set us up for sunshine once again tomorrow. And even though we're going to drop off right down to 4 degrees, we're still going to make those gains tomorrow back up into the mid-teens. With that northwest wind at about 20 kilometers per hour, we've got still those above seasonal temperatures to carry us into the start of the weekend, and sunshine to take us till about Saturday. Saturday night, some rain begins. That'll continue through Sunday and maybe even into Monday as those temperatures start to fall off.
St. Boniface Museum is at risk of missing a milestone. Closed for repairs in 2024, the museum planned to reopen its doors in 2026 to celebrate the building's 175th year anniversary. But as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, that date is now in jeopardy.
Helen Holbrook has fond memories of the St. Boniface Museum.
You couldn't ask more than for the ambiance.
She once took her in-laws from Tennessee to the museum on Canada Day, and her first visit there was in grade 4.
I actually was going to a Catholic school, so one of the nuns who took us around, and so we got to see a few more of the nooks and crannies.
Housed in a former convent, the museum showcases Francophone and Métis history, but it's been closed since June 2024 for renovations, and now it might not be able to reopen in time to celebrate the building's 175-year anniversary in 2026.
We'll call it a jewel. It's in the heart of Winnipeg, and it is a good part of who we are as Winnipeggers.
The museum has raised $4.5 million for the needed repairs, including a large contribution from the federal government. They need another $1.5 million by the end of the year to hit their milestone in time, so they're hoping the city can chip in.
It is a civic museum. It is their responsibility, so we're hoping that they can take the lead now and find a way of being able to help the museum achieve its goal.
St. Boniface Councillor Matt Allard is lobbying for funds in the upcoming city budget.
I know I'll be doing what I can for my office to support the initiative. I've been talking to my colleagues.
Money at City Hall is tight, and the city did give $300,000 already for roof repairs. Still, this might be more than just an anniversary date. Right now, staff are working out of the old City Hall in St. Boniface, where the Louis Riel exhibit is on display, but the museum is missing out on visitor and gift shop revenue.
At a certain point, there will be a breaking point for the museum itself as to what happens.
The city's property committee is scheduled to discuss the issue Thursday. Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A Winnipeg man is in custody after a bank robbery Tuesday evening. Police say around 6:30, someone went to the front counter of a bank on Cordon Avenue and handed a note to the teller. They made off in a vehicle after receiving an undisclosed amount of cash. About 7 hours later, police arrested a suspect at a home in the South River Heights area. A 29-year-old man is charged with robbery. A woman has been injured and 2 dogs have been killed in Montreal.
While she was walking towards the business, 3 dogs came out because the door opened.
Police say the 45-year-old woman was walking towards a garage when she was attacked by 3 dogs. Officials say the person responsible for the dogs had trouble controlling them and gave police permission to shoot 2 of them. There is an ongoing police investigation to figure out what led to the attack. Police say it's too early to say if any criminal charges will be laid, but add it's always a possibility. A man has been arrested on suspicion of starting the destructive Pacific Palisades fire that killed 12 people and destroyed more than 6,000 homes in Los Angeles.
Geolocation data for the 911 calls showed that he was standing above the fire in a clearing merely 30 feet from the blaze as it rapidly grew.
29-year-old Florida resident Jonathan Rinderknecht allegedly started the fire on New Year's Day, which then smoldered before igniting a massive inferno. Investigators collected digital evidence such as a ChatGPT-generated image of a burning city the suspect created before the fire. A local woman who offers free tattoo removal for former gang members and others looking for a fresh start is expanding her operations.
Yeah, so this van is going to be a life changer.
Stanky owns Mother Inc. She recently had a meeting with the Justice Minister to discuss the services she offers, and he was so impressed he offered her a new van. Stanky says it allows her to begin offering tattoo removal in the north, and she already has plans to visit the Paw Correctional Center. She says demand for her services has exploded in recent years. She visits 4 local prisons every week and estimates she has more than 700 clients.
Not only is it a safety thing, but it's actually giving people a fresh start. You know, some of them are in their 30s and 40s and getting their first job, their first apartment, and they're so proud of that. They don't want to ever go back to that lifestyle or anything. So, I mean, I couldn't be happier. I mean, this is just my dream, is to keep this going forward. And if I can, I'll do this for another 20, 25 years if I can.
And it's not only ex-gang members. Stanky says many of her clients are women and girls who have been forced to get tattoos by abusive boyfriends or pimps. She hopes to one day be able to offer her services in other provinces as well. JV 9 and 12 teams hit the field Wednesday night in week 6 of high school football action. In JV 12, Dakota Collegiate shut out Vincent Massey Collegiate 48-0, and Oak Park Raiders beat the St. Paul's Crusaders 36-12. In JV 9 action, Crocus Plains Secondary won their matchup against Sturgeon Heights Collegiate 40-6. And here's a look now what's going on at Portage at Polo Park. It looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see any issues out on the streets, please let us know. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.34. The provincial average is lower at $1.27. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26. And the lowest price in the city is $1.18. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Coming up, we're talking about the Green Action Center and some events coming up that will encourage you to be a little greener in your everyday life. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Dark out here, 7:41. That's when the sun officially begins to rise. There's just a few clouds, although it's too dark to even really see those clouds. I was noticing the moon glowing through them earlier, but the moon is now shifted. I guess we've rotated. Anyway, the moon is now behind the hydro building, so we can no longer see it, but it's still looking full and bright out there. It'll be the place of the sun until that sun starts to rise at about 20 to 8 this morning. 10 degrees right now, so it's a mild start to the day. A little bit breezy, though, with those winds gusting out of the south to 40 clicks. And those winds will remain strong throughout the morning hours, but these temperatures well above seasonal, so it's not even feeling that bad out here. When I could hear the wind through my window, I thought, oh, what am I going to be stepping outside to? And then when I actually stepped outside, I was like, it's actually not that bad, because 10 degrees, a normal low would be around 1. We're a lot closer to seasonal daytime highs. That would be about 12 degrees, but instead we'll be surpassing that big time, headed up into the high teens today with plenty of sunshine expected. Hey, Joseph Bernacki, he's out on location this morning, but I've already beat you to the weather forecast. So what's going on out there?
Thanks, Terry. Well, you know, it's a windy morning here. Very pleased to be joined by Mel Marginet. She's part of the Sustainable Transportation team with the Green Action Center. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've seen a few of these bicycles go by in the last 10 minutes, the last half an hour, probably up to 10 already. You guys have a great program throughout the month of October. Tell our viewers, if they're not familiar with Go-Tober, Mel, what it is.
Yeah, so Go-Tober runs all October long. So it's an event where we encourage people to try sustainable transportation once or twice a week, kind of minimum. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but we really want people during this fall time of new routines to think about different ways they can get around without having to drive alone.
And this could be a number of things, from riding your bike to work, walking to work, or even carpooling. Is that right?
Exactly. So anything that's not driving alone kind of will get you entered. If you log that into your Go Manitoba calendar, you'll earn points to win some great prizes.
And as a part of Go-Tober, you guys have had a number of different webinars already and some upcoming. Talk to us a little bit about that series.
Exactly. So that's all about helping people to feel more familiar, more comfortable, trying different ways of getting around. So we started off with a webinar on taking the bus, so on transit. Just this past Wednesday, we had Mark Coho from Bike Winnipeg come on, just talking about making that transition from maybe riding your bike recreationally to thinking about using it maybe to get to work, to get to school, those sorts of things. Next week, we're going to have one on carpooling, and then we're going to wrap up the month with somebody who's going to come and talk about a really cool bike bus that they've had going kind of in the Norwood community. So that's a way for kids to get to school as a group on their bikes.
And these have sort of been once a week, right? The one on carpooling is on the 15th, I believe?
Exactly. So we call them Webinar Wednesdays, and they're free and they're over the lunchtime.
Before we wrap up this first segment, Mel, where can people go to get more information on what's happening for Gotober?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, greenactioncenter.ca, you can learn all about Gotober and Walktober, which is on this month.
Right on. Well, Mel's going to be joining us later on in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll be back from Dawn to Go Park here in South Osborne with the Green Action Center. Stay tuned to CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones making small gains overnight. The Nasdaq dropping lower overnight. The S&P index is trading flat. The loonie is also flat at 71.70 cents U.S. The Hang Seng lost 76 points. The Nikkei index jumped 845. Good morning. It is 6:46. A Mountie is being charged following an investigation by the province's police watchdog. The Independent Investigation Unit was looking into an incident that occurred in July of last year. The IIU says RCMP officers were chasing a suspect on a bicycle in Portage la Prairie after a report of shoplifting. After the arrest, the man said he was having chest pain and trouble breathing. He was later hospitalized with a punctured lung. The IIU says one officer is charged with 1 count of assault causing bodily harm. Police are investigating after 3 schools in Saint-Vital were placed in a hold and secure Wednesday afternoon. In an email to CTV News, Louis Diel School Division says École Varennes, Glenwood School, and Glenlawn Collegiate were placed under the hold shortly after 1 p.m. A letter from the École Varennes principal says staff saw individuals acting in a threatening manner near the school grounds, leaving shortly after being noticed. The schools were then placed under a hold and secure as police patrolled the area. The orders were lifted at 2:20 p.m. Police continue to investigate. A provincial program offering a rebate for security upgrades to your home is being renewed. The government is once again accepting applications for its security rebate program. The program offers up to $300 back for the cost of security upgrades, such as cameras, alarm systems, locks, and other equipment. It's open to homeowners and tenants and can be used towards items purchased on or after August 23rd of last year. There's no deadline to apply, but the program will end once the funds run out. You can head to the province's website to apply. A separate program for businesses is expected to launch later in the year. Manitoba Hydro wants to include Indigenous-owned wind farms into its power supply. The utility has issued a request for qualified suppliers to come forward with plans. The call for power is part of the Manitoba government's Affordable Energy Plan. Hydro will purchase up to 600 megawatts of new wind energy. Each wind farm can be as large as 200 megawatts and must be majority owned by a Manitoba Indigenous nation. Hydro will evaluate the submissions in January. Qualified proponents can then submit their projects for final review. For more information on the project, visit Manitoba Hydro's website. Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump talked about reviving the Keystone XL pipeline extension during their White House meeting.
Prime Minister, did you and Mr. Trump agree to revive the Keystone XL pipeline?
Very good discussions on a wide range of issues, and I look forward to talking to Parliament.
Sources tell CTV News the pipeline came up in talks over relief for Canada from steel and aluminum tariffs. The pipeline would move oil from Alberta into the U.S. It was scrapped by the Obama administration, brought back by President Trump during his first term, then scrapped again by former President Joe Biden. The EU has voted in favor of a ban on calling plant-based products meat. That means a vegetable patty cannot be called a veggie burger. The ban also applies to terms like bacon, steak, and egg whites. The final regulation still has to be negotiated before it can become law. The Jays are headed back to the ALCS for the first time in 9 years after closing out the Yankees.
Lucas shoots one into center field. He's come through. Clement into score. Jimenez right behind him.
Nathan Lucas came up with a big hit, driving in the winning runs in the top of the 7th. The Jays bullpen combined to hold the powerful Yankees lineup to just 2 runs. Jeff Hoffman struck out Cody Bellinger to seal the 5-2 win. Game 1 of the ALCS is Sunday against Detroit or Seattle. The puck is set to drop on the Winnipeg Jets regular season. Winnipeg starts the NHL season at home tonight against the Dallas Stars. The Jets won the President's Trophy last season for leading the league in regular season points, but had their playoff run cut short by the Stars in the Western Conference semifinals. Game 7 is at 7 p.m. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. Wellington Crescent is closed between Lanark and Academy. One lane will remain open on southbound McPhillips from Ems to North Point Boulevard. The southbound curb lane and northbound median lane are closed on Moray between Lodge and Portage. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
10 degrees outside with winds out of the south gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity at 63%. Yeah, game day tonight. Doesn't it seem somewhat serendipitous that we're going to kick off the Jets season against the same team that ended ours last year? Fingers crossed we can pull one out just to put us on the right foot. Speaking of the right foot, oh my goodness, Mother Nature, she has been coming through with these temperatures that are putting us above seasonal, and the conditions very clear, very sunny. Of course it's dark. 7:41 is official sunrise, but once the sun is up, we're going to see plenty of it across the south. Parts of northern Manitoba will enjoy a break in those clouds, but other places might see some scattered precipitation. However, even with the clouds or the possibility of some showers, look at where your temperatures are headed today. Double digits, even up into the mid-teens for some. A little bit cooler here in northwestern Manitoba. You might top out in the high single digits. Other places with a little more of that sunshine will be pushing up at least into the double digits. And then there's southern Manitoba. We're soaring beyond seasonal. When 12 degrees is a normal daytime high, we're headed up instead into those high teens, and some could even get into the low 20s for today. We might not be into the low 20s, but high teens, we'll take it. 12 degrees, I just mentioned, that's normal for this time of year. The conditions looking good. Yes, it's going to be windy, especially through the morning hours, but those stronger south winds will be tapering off, shifting out of the northwest for later on today. And northwestern Ontario, also a mix of sun and cloud. Things will be pretty pleasant for you as well, and staying pleasant for the next stretch of days into the start of the long weekend, with sunshine lasting till Saturday. The mild temperatures lasting through Sunday, even though it's going to look a little bit soggy. After that, however, temperatures will be dropping off a few degrees.
A new medication is now available in Canada for people living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
6-year-old Oliver is an active boy, and his parents hope he'll stay that way for a long time.
Skiing, biking, fishing.
It's all thanks to a new drug, Agamree or vamorolone, just approved in Canada for boys with Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
The difficulty in Duchenne muscular dystrophy revolves around a protein called dystrophin, and that protein is either missing or not working well based on a problem in the gene.
The muscles break down and inflammation leads to the formation of scar tissue.
Vamorolone helps to reduce that muscle inflammation, thereby, kind of preventing some of the scar tissue formation and that ends up accompanying the muscle damage.
Dr. Craig Campbell says because this drug was specifically developed for Duchenne patients, it reduces the typical side effects associated with traditional steroid treatments, things like fragile bones, weight gain, and short stature.
He got on during the clinical trial, and he's doing so far really good. We see no side effects, and he's got good strength for now and good stamina.
There are drugs that are available for boys with Duchenne. They're available in the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, but they were not available in Canada.
John Davidson, who toured Canada in support of his son Jesse as he battled Duchenne muscular dystrophy, says Defeat Duchenne Canada played a key role in funding research on vamorolone. Jesse died in 2009 at the age of 29.
I think Jesse would probably smile and say, well, it's about time.
Vamorolone is only approved for patients up to a certain weight, but Oliver's family hopes by the time he reaches that, new medications will be available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Welcoming Winnipeg's golden boy to the show, or the blue and gold boy, or in this case, of course, this spokesperson for the HSC Millionaire Lottery, Milt Stiegel. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Hopefully everything is great with you.
I am excited because tonight's a big night, Milt. What's going on?
Yeah, it's another deadline. Deadline tonight, midnight tonight. You have to get your tickets before midnight tonight to get an opportunity to win great prizes. We're going to have 5 winners, 73,000 total dollars and opportunities to win prizes tonight. But you got to get your tickets before midnight tonight if you want to have an opportunity to win these prizes.
Yeah, and the prizes are great. Of course, there's the houses, there's the cars, there's the vacations, gas and groceries for a year. One of my favorite new prizes this year, it's the Grey Cup. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, get an opportunity to win some tickets to the Grey Cup right there in Winnipeg. And we're all hoping that the Blue Bombers will be in it, but regardless if the Bombers are in it or not, if you want to have an opportunity to go, you got to get your tickets. So we're hoping everyone can go out and buy as many tickets as possible to support this great cause, the Health Sciences Center. They supply so many opportunities, help out so many throughout Manitoba. So we're hoping everyone can go out and get their tickets.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, as you mentioned, it's all going to such a great cause with HSC on the line and our healthcare on the line, right? Let's talk about why it is that you love taking part in this campaign.
Well, the city of Winnipeg, the province of Manitoba, as I always say, has done so much for me and my family and continue doing so much for me and my family. So this is just my small way of giving back. The Health Sciences Center, like I always say, directly or indirectly, everyone in Manitoba is going to need the Health Sciences Center. So we have to make sure they continue being able to do all the things they need to do. It costs a lot of money for them to continue doing those things. And this is a small way, this Millionaire Lottery, that helps them do that. So this is my small way of making sure they continue doing what they're able to do for years to come.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, those great prizes, you'll find the whole list of them on the website, hscmillionaire.com. Milt, I don't want to put you on the spot getting a prediction for the Grey Cup. I'm going to give my prediction, though, that 3 people times 2, 6 people will be really glad that they got their ticket because they're going to be sitting in the stands at that game. So thank you for joining us this morning. Go and get your ticket, hscmillionaire.com.
Okay, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this with your 7 o'clock headlines. Stay with us. It's Thursday, October 9th. Today, a major update why a Winnipeg judge stayed all charges in a case against Peter Nygard. Plus, on the lookout, which Winnipeg fugitives made the country's most wanted list? The road, how you can register for Manitoba's winter driving courses. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Thursday. It is 7 a.m. We are almost at the finish line for this week. We're so excited about the long weekend. But before that, we're going to have something fun at about 7:52 in our Community Connection. We're going to tell you about a pet rescue that has a lot of kittens and a lot of dogs up for adoption right now. They're called Wayward Whiskers. They're going to bring some kittens in the studio. We're going to get to hang out with them, cuddle with them.
I can't wait to see like the kittens climbing on the pumpkins. Like what a little photo op that's going to be
perfect. Exactly. And I actually got 3 pumpkins yesterday.
Did you?
To decorate my front step. It really feels like fall's here now.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, it's not necessarily feeling like fall, but it's looking like it outside with all the changing colored leaves. I say it's not feeling like fall because we're waking up in the double digits this morning, 10 degrees right now. Wowza, that's warm, closer to a seasonal daytime high than a normal low for this time of year. We've got a bit of a breeze though out of the south. It's gusting to 40 kilometers per hour with the pressure rising and the humidity is sitting at 63%. So 12 degrees would be a normal daytime high and we're almost there at 10. 1 degree. That would be a seasonal low temperature. We're well above that this morning, and the conditions very, very clear throughout most of southern and central Manitoba. For northern Manitoba, that's where the extra clouds are this morning, and that's where the extra clouds will stay, with even the possibility of a little bit of passing precipitation through some parts of northern and then central Manitoba as it pushes off to the east. Staying quite clear here in the south, northwestern Ontario, or right along that very eastern border, you might see a few clouds building up, but for the most part, it will remain quite clear. And for Friday as well, clear conditions, staying sunny here in the south right into the weekend. In fact, even northern Manitoba gets that sunshine into the start of the weekend. By the end of the weekend, that's when everything starts to change a little bit. By Saturday night, some rain could begin, and that'll take us through Sunday. The mild temperatures, though, are expected to last through Sunday, even with that rain, but on the other side of that, that's when those temperatures will be dropping off, and we're in for some cooler below seasonal weather into next week. We were talking about how it's looking like fall. Brendan, what a talent you are. Thank you for this art today, speaking of fall pics. And we would love to see what you're working on. Draw, color, or paint. Send your art to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
A Manitoba judge has stayed all charges in a Winnipeg sexual assault case against former fashion mogul Peter Nygard. But as CTV's Alex Carpa reports, his legal troubles are far from over.
A Manitoba judge found Peter Nygard's right to a fair trial was violated by police who failed to retain records related to allegations dating back over 3 decades. Nygard was charged in 2023 after a woman came forward alleging he sexually assaulted her during a visit to his Winnipeg warehouse in 1993. The complainant spoke with RCMP at her home in Vancouver about a week after the alleged assault. Court documents say she didn't want to press charges. In 2020, she decided to come forward, and Winnipeg police launched an investigation.
Obviously, he's satisfied with the outcome.
Jerry Wiebe is the lawyer for the 84-year-old former fashion mogul. She filed a motion last month to stay the charges, arguing the failure by police to keep records of the complainant's first interaction with officers undercut Nygard's right to a fair trial. Judge Mary Kate Harvey said his right to a fair trial was, quote, substantially prejudiced, going on to say, I am satisfied this is one of the clearest of cases warranting a stay of proceedings.
There is a fundamental unfairness to an accused where the evidence of what was said back then isn't available to them.
Judge Harvey said significant changes are needed in the categorization and storage of police reports and statements when it comes to historical allegations.
This is a very good decision overall. This is important for the integrity of our system.
One trauma therapist who has advocated for victims of Nygard is worried about the message this sends to other survivors of sexual assault.
Why would I put myself through this? They might be thinking I'm better off just keeping this to myself.
Nygard is already serving an 11-year sentence for 4 counts of sexual assault in Ontario. He also faces sex charges in Quebec and extradition to the United States for sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
It's Canada's most wanted list, and Winnipeg is home for 3 of the country's worst offenders still on the loose. Number 4 is Trésor Horenberry, who is wanted for first-degree murder in Winnipeg. There's a $100,000 reward for anyone who helps police make an arrest. At number 7 is Chad Dan, wanted for first-degree murder, kidnapping, and extortion. And Yusuf Abdul Qadir Ali is wanted for 2 counts of attempted murder and multiple firearm-related charges. He's number 17. The Be on the Lookout program, or BOLO, released its 25 most wanted list Wednesday in Vancouver. It began in 2018 as the National Public Awareness Campaign. The program encourages Canadians to stay alert and help locate fugitives. For this news conference, models resembling the suspects, complete with realistic-looking masks, took the stage behind the podium.
It may feel uncomfortable, especially if you're in this room today, to see the 25 most wanted fugitives in flesh behind me. And it should. On the one hand, these fugitives have been awarded BOLO top 25 spots, not only because of the major crimes they're charged with, but because they know they're wanted and they're actively evading arrest.
If you have any information about these 3 men, you're asked to call the BOLO tip line at 431-334-9160. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan, putting a pause on the 2-year war in Gaza. Families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza celebrated the news. So did Palestinians, who are hoping this will bring a permanent end to the war. Under the agreement, Hamas will release all 20 living hostages over the next couple of days in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will convene his government today to approve the deal. Once that happens, Israeli forces will begin withdrawing from the majority of Gaza to an agreed-upon boundary. Hamas would then have 72 hours to release hostages. Hamas says the deal would also allow for the entry of aid into the region. World leaders are praising the peace deal, including Prime Minister Mark Carney. He expressed relief that hostages will soon be reunited with their families, saying after years of intense suffering, peace finally feels attainable. He also called on all parties to implement the agreed terms swiftly. Soon enough, motorists will be driving through snow and ice, and Manitoba Public Insurance is opening registration for winter driving courses. The course is designed to avoid scenarios like these, giving students the knowledge and skills they need to drive safely in winter. It's part of MPI's Driver Z High School Driver Education Program. There are 2,900 seats available for the winter session, which runs from December through February. Registration begins on October 15th at 8 a.m., but first, new drivers need to register as an MPI customer at an MPI service center or Autopack broker. On the 15th, centers open early to help customers prepare for registration. You can also call the MPI contact center or its driver education phone line. The MPI website has all the information you need. Francine the cat is back at home after a wild adventure. The calico lives at a Lowe's store in Virginia. However, she went missing after hitching a ride on a truck which ended up at another store in North Carolina. She usually spends time at the customer service desk or in the seasonal area, but with the seasonal area being turned over for the fall, they think she ended up getting comfortable in the wrong spot. Things are all good now, and the store has its perpetual employee of the month back. That's good news. Here's a look at what's going on now on McPhillip Street. Things are moving well here. We have no issues to report in this part of the city at this point. If you see any issues out there, please text them to us at 10400.
China is bringing out tougher restrictions on rare earth exports in the latest move in its trade war with the U.S. The minerals, vital to many industries, including semiconductors and the military, will now need an export license to leave the country. The two sides, meanwhile, are meeting at a summit in South Korea this month. Rare earth futures stocks are trading up this morning. Costco is up in pre-market trading with news the retail giant reported comparable sales growth that beat analysts' estimates for September. It was fueled in part by a rise in foot traffic and amounts spent per customer. September numbers are key data that may help ease concerns about broader retail weakness. And gold held near record highs, but there are concerns it may be vulnerable to pullbacks. One thing that could lead to a drop is President Trump's announcement that Israel and Hamas had agreed to terms to release all the hostages being held by the militant group in Gaza. Gold is up 50% for the year on geopolitical tensions like Gaza and global trade uncertainties. Those are your morning business headlines. For B&M Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki, and we're talking about an event that the Green Action Center is putting on for the entire month of October to encourage people to be a little greener when they go to work or to play. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, as Rochelle mentioned, today we've been spending time so far with Green Action Center. If you're just joining us for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, they've got a number of initiatives for the month of October, including Go-tober, which we talked about earlier in the 6 o'clock hour, and Walktober as well. Walktober, you're going to find out a little bit more in the show. It's an opportunity for kids. They're encouraged to walk to school at least once a week for the month of October, and parents and teachers can try and log those minutes, that walk time, for a chance to enter different prizes. Very similar to Go-tober, where you're encouraged to carpool, take other modes of transportation, bike. We've had probably about a dozen cyclists. There goes one. Finally, we timed it. This whole morning we've been trying to get a cyclist behind us. It's just been off while we've been off air. But we'll be back with more members of the Sustainable Transportation Team from the Green Action Center coming up soon.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Let's go out to the rooftop. You could hear that wind on his mic, and I can see your hair is flying around. It's cold and windy.
It's more windy than it is cold this morning. Actually, I'm really glad that we've got the warmer temperatures temperatures today than we've had over the past couple of days, given the fact that the winds are stronger. Because if this had been a few days back when it was -4, remember, that was just earlier this week. I was standing out here and it was -4. A wind like this at those temperatures, oof, I would have been complaining all morning long. If I think back, I probably did complain all morning long, but only about the temperatures, not about the winds that day. Whereas today we've got some much stronger winds, but much warmer temperatures in the double digits already. It's 11 degrees right now as those winds are out of the south and gusting to 37 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 64%. It's still dark out here. 7:41 is when the sun officially begins to rise, but we do have a few extra clouds right now, so we might not see that day glow as early as we saw it for yesterday or the day before when the conditions were so very clear. Now, I think it will eventually clear and these clouds will move on out of the way, letting that sunshine through and letting the warmth come with it, because these temperatures already above seasonal, but they'll continue to heat up into the mid to high teens all across southern Manitoba. Some places might even hit into the 20-degree range, and even across parts of northern Manitoba, a mild and above seasonal day, though it won't be anywhere near as sunny, with northern Manitoba expecting some heavier clouds and maybe some scattered precipitation through a couple of places as well.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
It's time now for a question of the day. We want to know, what's your favorite Winnipeg Jets memory? You can text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Fall into fashion with your Morning Winnipeg for your chance to win. To help warm up your wardrobe, we're giving away 3 $500 shopping sprees from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and submit your details. And make sure to join us on Fashion Fridays for the latest in fall fashion from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this. Good morning. It is 7:16. A Mountie is being charged following an investigation by the province's police watchdog. The Independent Investigation Unit was looking into an incident that occurred in July of last year. The IIU says RCMP officers were chasing a suspect on a bicycle in Portage la Prairie after a report of shoplifting. After the arrest, the man said he was having chest pain and trouble breathing. He was later hospitalized with a punctured lung. The IIU says one officer is charged with 1 count of assault causing bodily harm. Figures from the federal government suggest much of the respiratory illness across the country right now is being caused by COVID-19. The latest respiratory virus surveillance report found 11.4% of COVID tests were positive as of late September versus less than 1% for influenza and RSV. Out of all lab-confirmed respiratory virus outbreaks in recent weeks, 97% were connected to COVID. Hospitalizations for respiratory viruses in general are also trending upwards. This comes as provinces ramp up its fall vaccine rollout. The province is continuing to hold rental rates for agricultural crown lands. The agriculture minister says the rate will remain frozen at $3.66 per animal unit month. The province says there are roughly 1,700 leaseholders in Manitoba who use the land for grazing, hay, and other activities. You can also now take part in a public survey on the future of the program. The province wants your feedback on areas such as lease allocation and renewal methods. Just head to engagemb.ca. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are headed to Edmonton for a Saturday matchup against the Elks.
He wants a deep shot instead.
With only 3 games to go in the regular season, the Bombers sit in 4th spot in the CFL's West Division. They beat the Elks in their first meeting of the season back in June.
You should be looking at your roster and trying to move it around on a weekly basis to give you the best chance every single week. And a lot of times that just amounts to continuity. And sometimes it amounts to, making some different changes based on a completely different game plan,
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on the Edmonton Elks at Commonwealth Stadium Saturday at 6 o'clock. Here's a look now at what's going on in traffic at Kenaston and Sterling Lyon. Looks smooth here so far this morning. No issues to tell you about. If you do see anything out there, please text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Country music legend Dolly Parton is breaking her silence over concerns for her health, triggered by canceled shows and a social media post by her sister.
There's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay. And I'm not ready to die yet. Hey, Natalie.
Parton posted this video while on a set working on commercials. She said she was dealing with some issues linked to her husband's death in March when she neglected her own health, but is now getting treatment. This comes as her sister Frida apologized for sparking concern with a recent Facebook post asking for prayers for Dolly's health. Have you ever gone out hunting for a sweet treat but ended up getting tricked instead? These siblings sure have. The Royal Winnipeg Ballet is putting a new spin on the classic Brothers Grimm tale, Hansel and Gretel. Colorful vaudeville characters bring the audience back to the 1930s. RWB's new artistic director says the ballet is super fun, but also speaks to struggles felt today.
And it not only deals with a fairy tale, but also with elements of being a human that we can relate to now. Like Hansel and Gretel and their family, they don't have a lot of resources. They're going hungry, they're poor, so food scarcity, poverty, and how people react to that.
The curtain opens on Hansel and Gretel tonight and runs through Sunday at Centennial Concert Hall. Casting is now open for season 12 of The Amazing Race Canada. You're just going to need to find a partner who could be a friend, relative, spouse, or just someone you're close to, and send in an application. The show is looking for people who are adventurous, problem solvers, and strong communicators. For information on how to apply, head to ctv.ca/The Amazing Race Canada. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with Hell's Kitchen. 911 Nashville follows at 8. Grey's Anatomy is on at 9. Catch it all right here tonight on CTV. All right, it's going to be another gorgeous day today.
It is. It's windy this morning, but beautiful. I mean, these temperatures, we really can't go wrong with them. Well above seasonal and eventually some sunshine, although it's still dark out there right now with the sun not rising for another 20 minutes at 7:41. And you can see there's a few extra clouds right now as we look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. But those clouds aren't likely to last. They'll be clearing as the day goes on, and that will set us up for plenty of sunshine that we'll enjoy throughout the day. And temperature-wise, when you think that 12 degrees is a normal daytime high, we're coming in at 11. That is 10 degrees above a seasonal low of 1 degree. So double digits already this morning. If you're not in the double digits, you're already in the high single digits here in the southeast, or at least the mid single digits through southwestern Manitoba. A little cooler than the southeast, but still above that normal low of 1 degree. And even into northern Manitoba, we've got Island Lake in the double digits, other places in those mid to high single digits, but there are some heavier clouds hanging across northern Manitoba. And with those clouds, there might even be a little bit of passing precipitation through a couple of areas in the northwest. Now, overall, it's going to remain quite clear here across southern Manitoba, and the temperatures will be warming up beautifully today. 11 degrees as kids are settling into the classroom, 17 by noontime, and then 18 by the time they're coming home at the end of the day. A well above seasonal day expected, and the rest of this week will remain above seasonal with plenty of sunshine up until the weekend on Saturday. Saturday night, the rain begins. That'll continue through Sunday, and then holiday Monday and much of next week will come with some cooler temps. A beautiful shot of that sun setting out in the Cross Lake area. What a stunning sky and reflection on the lake, too. Thanks to Lorna for the photo. Keep them coming to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is relax. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word relax with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. It's time for our Pet of the Week reveal. This week, we're celebrating Henry. Henry is a 5-year-old budgie. His family tells us he's very affectionate, loves to play in the kitchen with the grandkids, and enjoys boiled eggs, lettuce, and cheese. Henry also loves music, especially country songs, and will sing and chirp along. Congratulations, Henry. We love your Pet of the Week submissions, so keep them coming, please. Share a photo and a fun story of your pet, dog, cat, bird, or any other buddy at petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then make sure to watch Thursdays to see if your pet is named our Pet of the Week.
It's a big day because midnight tonight is the super bonus deadline in the HSC Millionaire Lottery, and Whitney joins me. She runs the lottery. She's the brains behind it all, so thanks for having the chat today, Whitney. Let's talk a little bit about, the prizes, right? When people purchase their ticket, you know it does good, and we're going to be talking about some of the great things and where that money goes, but we have to talk about, too, what they can win, because the prizes really are incredible, not to mention a home.
Yes, and this gorgeous Merrick home is one of the Made in Manitoba mansions that you can win. We've got 3 more, and we've got the ultimate all-Canadian retirement dream, which is a seaside condo out in BC, so you can wake up with the whales. And then each of those home packages comes jam-packed with cars, cash, gas and groceries, travel vouchers, and more. And you can always take the cash option, which is $1.25 million tax-free.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are thinking, yeah, take the cash too. But honestly, when I stepped through that door, my jaw dropped. This view, it's absolutely stunning. Even the neighborhood as I was driving through. So yes, the cash is always there. But these homes really are something. You mentioned gas and groceries for a year. That goes so far. But then there's also a lot of the Made in Manitoba prizes. Let's talk about that local aspect.
Yes. So when you're supporting the HSC Millionaire Lottery, obviously you're supporting HSC, Manitoba's hospital, but you're also supporting our local economy, because we are giving away thousands of prizes that feature the best in Manitoba boutiques, restaurants, resorts, all that good stuff. And the super bonus, we're giving away a jet suite for 12. Okay. And you can also win $55,000 tax-free.
See, again, the cash prizes are endless, but a jet suite for 12, you can just have the best party, the best time, and that super bonus deadline is midnight tonight. So what do people need to do in order to get their tickets?
Okay, go online, hscmillionaire.com, and we ask that you request to have your tickets sent to you via email because of what's going on with Canada Post. Right. That way you can make sure your tickets get to you. You can also give us a call at 204-253-5688.
Excellent. And good reminder there. Yes, so go online, get your tickets. You could be a big winner.
Coming up, we're going to take a break. We'll be back after this. Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki, who's telling us all about the Green Action Center's campaign this month called Go-Tober. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. If you're just joining us at this time, very pleased to be joined again by Mel Marginette from the Green Action Center. She's part of the Sustainability Transport team. Pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we talked about cycling in the first hour, Mel. Carpooling is also another key part of your advocacy for different ways of commuting to work. Talk to us about how a company can get in touch with the Green Action Center and try to set up their own carpooling within their place of business.
Yeah, so we have a tool. It's called Go Manitoba, gomb.ca. So organizations can contact us, and for free they can set up their own Go Manitoba network. So what that allows users to do is when they go on to find a carpool partner, if your organization has a network, people can choose to potentially, if it's their first time carpooling, they're a little bit nervous, they can kind of self-select and maybe select matches from within their own organization.
We know, green commuting is one of the key pillars of the Green Action Center's, core values. Why is something like carpooling for a great example of other ways to transport, kind of reducing emissions in the atmosphere?
Absolutely. So for a lot of Manitobans, they don't have access to transit. Maybe if you live rurally, in a small town, maybe an ex-urban community, that's really not an option for you. At the same time, getting around on your bike, maybe you can do that within your neighborhood, but you can't get to work or to school, places like that. So it's really a way to fill that gap for Manitobans to consider carpooling.
And we talked about the Go-Tober campaign earlier on in the show. Can people also log their carpooling that they do over this month for this event that you guys are running throughout the month?
Yeah, absolutely. So any form of sustainable transportation. So anything that's not driving alone. So that can be carpooling, taking the bus, walking, or biking.
Anything else that you can tell us about this campaign that I hadn't had a chance to ask you about yet on the show so far?
that it's not all or nothing. So we really encourage people to try it maybe once or twice. If you're setting up a new carpool, maybe set a limit of like, we'll try this for 3 weeks, and then if it doesn't work for you, no harm, no foul, at least you gave it a shot.
Pleasure to have you on our show so far, Mel. We're going to have some of Mel's colleagues coming up, including at 7:42, talking about more green transportation with the Green Action Center.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. All right, Terry, we got an interesting question. The Geese are heading south already. How far do they go down?
And Chris Robson on our teleprompter there wants to know, how far do the geese go? Well, they go as far as a goose can go if a goose can go so far.
Good answer. And if someone at home knows, please send us an email.
Yes, that's a question for Google or ChatGPT if the kids would do it. 11 degrees right now. South winds, they're gusting to 37 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling. The humidity is sitting at 64%. Surely we're going to be back at Oak Hammock Marsh soon, right? Yeah. We check in pretty regularly with them. Somebody there, I'm sure, will have all of the answers for us. Or Fort White Alive. There's plenty of resources. Why'd you ask me? Ask me what the weather is, Chris. It's going to be sunny. Anyway, there's a look at the conditions right now. It's not sunny at the moment. We've actually got some clouds over us currently, but they will be clearing out, and then some sunshine expected through the day today. 18 degrees. That's where we're headed with the temperatures, and some stronger winds this morning. You'll notice that breeze. It's out of the south, and at times it will be gusting to about 50 kilometers per hour, but then later on this afternoon, that wind will actually taper off, shifting out of the north, and this afternoon will be far more pleasant when that wind has died off somewhat. Dropping down to 4 degrees overnight, so cooler than this past night. We stayed in the double digits this past night. That's well above seasonal, but even 4 still keeps us above a seasonal low of 1 and headed up to a warm high of 15 again for tomorrow, with those northwest winds still at about 20 kilometers per hour, and these above seasonal temperatures taking us into the start of the long weekend, just not lasting all throughout. In fact, the sunshine won't even last throughout. By Saturday night, the rain begins. That'll carry us through Sunday, and those temperatures will be falling off on the other side of that.
The Manitoba Bar Association is denouncing comments made by Premier Wab Kinew. During question period in the Manitoba legislature, Kinew criticized a bail decision rendered by a Manitoba judge. Here's what he said.
In this particular instance, I think we have to, with all respect that we have for the justice system, encourage our judges and justices of the peace to reflect on the role that their decisions will have when they are learned of by the public.
The case involves a fatal crash near Altona last November that killed 35-year-old Sarah Unger and her 8-year-old daughter, Alexa. Navjit Singh is charged with 2 counts of dangerous driving causing death. This week, a judge granted bail to Singh, even though he had previously evaded police for 9 months by leaving Canada. Singh is now back in Canada to face trial. Earlier this week, a judge granted bail, allowing Singh to live in Ontario with conditions. In a release, the Bar Association says Kinew's comments could affect the fairness of a trial and pose a serious threat to judiciary independence. It says, quote, Premier Kinew's remarks undermine public confidence in the administration of justice and run counter to the constitutional principles that separate the judicial and legislative branches of government, and politicizing individual court decisions, particularly in active cases, undermines the safeguards that ensure fair and impartial justice for all Manitobans. Manitoba's Justice Minister was asked whether he thought the Premier's comments were appropriate. Here's what he had to say.
Well, as I said, the Premier's words were very clear. He made a very clear distinction between the role of the judiciary and the role of the legislative branch in government. And now I know he was, talking in general terms about the frustrations that he's heard in community. What I'm saying as the Attorney General, I'm clear about the role and the separation between those two branches, and I'm clear that we're going to support the judicial system to make sure that Manitobans are getting the justice that they deserve.
The trial is scheduled to resume in December. The union representing Canada Post workers is now taking aim at Purolator. Canada Post owns 91% of Purolator, and according to the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, the Crown Corporation has been pushing business its way. The union saying when postal workers were bargaining for fair wages and better working conditions, Purolator was offering small business customers steep discounts. Meantime, Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu is urging the union to respond to the Crown Corporation's latest offers, saying the two parties have a responsibility to find a way through the labor impasse. Postal workers have been on strike since September 25th, its third job action in less than a year. There is still no sign of the 2 Nova Scotia children missing since May 2nd.
Sometimes the smell doesn't reach the surface, and sometimes it just doesn't work, and the cadaver dogs aren't successful. So just because they didn't indicate something on this search, it doesn't mean there aren't remains there.
The team using cadaver dogs took 3 days to search a 40-kilometer stretch in Lansdowne Station, which is where 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack lived. Mounties are still treating their disappearance as a missing persons case. They're still receiving tips and still have hours of surveillance footage to comb through. For now, there's no further searches planned unless new information comes in. There's no injuries after this attempt to move a hot tub went terribly wrong. A crane attached to a truck fell right on top of this home. Police say the arm collapsed while it was moving the hot tub into the home's backyard. There was some damage to the roof of the house, and crews are now looking to see if the foundation was damaged. JV 9 and 12 teams hit the field Wednesday night in week 6 of high school football action. In JV 12, Dakota Collegiate shut out Vincent Massey Collegiate 48-0, and Oak Park Raiders beat the St. Paul's Crusaders 36-12. In JV 9 action, Crocus Plains Secondary won their matchup against Sturgeon Heights Collegiate 40-6. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. Wellington Crescent is closed between Lanark and Academy. One lane will remain open on southbound McPhillips from Ems to North Point Boulevard. The southbound curb lanes and northbound median lanes are closed on Moray between Lodge and Portage. If you have any other traffic tips to share, text them to us, please, at 10400. And here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average stands at $1.34. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.27. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26, and the lowest price in Winnipeg is at $1.18. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
It's windy out there, but it's 11 degrees. We'll be back after this with more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
All right, looking a little bit brighter outside. The sun, it's rising this very moment. Enjoy it. 11 degrees with south winds gusting to 37 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sits at 64%. How far do the geese fly? Chris in our studio asked, so I Googled it because he was too lazy to do his own research. Anyway, geese will fly as far south as about northeastern Mexico. Those are the more ambitious ones. Some will only fly into parts of the States. Then there's the lazy Canada goose that'll actually stay in southern Canada. So some will keep it like just staked out here all year long, and then they regret it. Those are the ones that are like, oh, I should have had a little more motivation back in the fall. Anyway, taking a look at the conditions right now, very, very clear. It's a little bit breezy too, though, and we've got a few extra clouds for now. Those will be clearing out nicely, not necessarily through northern Manitoba. Some places through the north will deal with more than clouds, maybe even a little bit of scattered precipitation, but still some really nice temperatures, double digits all through the northeast, even getting up into the mid-teens in the Island Lake area. Slightly cooler in parts of the northwest where you'll top out in those high single digits. Other places will do a little bit better where the sun is going to shine. Or again, that possibility that a couple of places through the north will see a little bit of light precipitation. Mainly sunny conditions, especially through southwestern Manitoba. High teens is where you're headed today, well above seasonal. 12 degrees, those would be normal daytime highs here through the south. We'll be getting up into the high teens or maybe even low 20s for some. And we'll see maybe a couple extra clouds here in the southeastern side or for northwestern Ontario. Mix of sun and cloud, mid to high teen temperatures, or mostly high teen temperatures. Mid-teens for tomorrow, back up into the high teens as we're wrapping up the weekend, or sorry, kicking off the weekend. Wrapping up the weekend, that comes with some rain and some cooler temps.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki. We're talking about Go-Tober, which is the Green Action Center's sort of campaign to encourage people to be a little bit greener with their modes of transportation. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, we're kind of going through different modes of transportation for each segment. We talked about cycling in the 6 o'clock hour. Just before this, it was carpooling, and now I'm going to talk about taking the bus to work. Very pleased to be joined by Lilia Best. She's part of the Sustainable Transportation team. Pleasure to have you on our show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So, like I said, we've talked about different modes of transportation. Lots of buses going by here on South Osborne. Lilia, what would you say to somebody to encourage them try out rapid transit, take the bus to work if they haven't before?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great way to get to work. It helps take cars off the road, which both reduces our emissions, helps reduce traffic, get everything moving a little faster. And it's also a great way to take some of that stress of driving out of your morning. You can hop on the bus, put on some music, a podcast, answer those last-minute emails before you get into work.
Now, we have a lot of different bus routes in a big city like Winnipeg, of course. I understand there's different apps that people can use to try to better understand where they need to get to on their, commute to work, for example. What are some apps that you can refer people to?
Yeah, for sure. If you're in Winnipeg, you can use the Navigo app. That's Winnipeg Transit's app, and you can find a ton of information about that app as well as the transit system overall on the Winnipeg Transit website. If you're outside of Winnipeg, you can look at your, municipal website, and they'll have a ton of information about your local bus system. Or you can use the Transit app, which is another great option that works not just in Winnipeg or Manitoba, but all across Canada.
The Go-Tober campaign's been a part of the Green Action Centre for a number of years now. People haven't had a chance to walk to work yet or take the bus or carpool. What would you say to somebody to encourage them to take a different way to get to work?
Yeah, I'd say, just try it once or twice, see how it goes. You don't have to commit to, biking every day to work. Just take a chance and try it, and, you might find something that you really enjoy.
Awesome. And you can, of course, log those minutes for a chance to win some different prizes on their website. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about Walktober, another one of the programs the Green Action Centre runs, and a little bit more. So stay tuned. Coming up soon.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. A Cape Breton man is going back to the future. He's converted an old Pontiac Fiero into the DeLorean from the 40-year-old film. CTV's Ryan McDonald has more on the replica that's turning heads.
It's a vehicle that doesn't just make you feel nostalgic, it almost seems like it could quite literally take you back in time.
My little fellas and I just one day said, let's do something fun for Halloween.
The plan was to do the best they could to recreate the time-traveling DeLorean from the Back to the Future movies. A few years ago, John Nolan of Catalone, Nova Scotia, purchased this old Pontiac Fiero.
Like the DeLorean, it's kind of got the same shape, same appeal. It's a two-seater, rear-mounted engine.
Then he and his young sons got to work, giving it a new aluminum paint job and decorating it with whatever they could find in thrift stores and at the curbs during the annual heavy garbage pickup.
And just made a little collection, put it all together, put it out by the road, and it was a big hit. Lots of people stopped, a lot of smiles.
Not only does it look ready for liftoff after dark, but it has all the bells and whistles that any time traveler might need.
We had to make that because no time machine is complete without its hoverboard. And we just used an old snowboard. My little fellas painted that.
Only recently, the creator of this makeshift DeLorean decided to sell it to another fan of all things retro who lives here in Membertou.
The sales pitch was I told the fellow that it was only used from time to time. So I don't think that I was stretching the truth too much with it.
In the end, it's a nice homage to a classic movie.
I remember going to the theater with my father, and I just didn't think I'd be building one and put it in my front yard years later.
From 1985 to 2025, it's a journey that took this man back to the future and beyond. Ryan McDonald, CTV News on the Membertou First Nation.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy birthday, 84th birthday, Dad, Grandpa, and Great-Grandpa Jack. Love always from Dory, Troy, and Cashley. Happy sweet 16th birthday to Serena. Love Mom, Dad, Sophia, and fur babies Summer and Stella. Happy 9th birthday, James. Love from Mom and Dad, Stanley and Louie, who all say you're the top rope of their world. Bonne fête and happy birthday, Lily, from family and friends. Happy 3rd birthday, Cassidy. Love Mommy, Daddy, Carrie, and Caleb. And a happy 94th birthday to Grandma Mary. Love Gail, Randy, Justin, Melody, and Chris. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It will also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
All right, looking at our almanac for today, our high of 18 degrees. That'll put us well above seasonal because normal highs would be around 12 degrees. Oh, that is an error that I'm just seeing now. It was not 202 degrees last year, I promise you that. That would have obviously been the record if that was the case. It wasn't. It was 20.2 degrees. Anyway, we'll get that off the screen. Sorry, I should have double-checked my work this morning. I don't know what I was doing. Busy researching geese, apparently, and how far they fly south. Anyway, 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now with some heavier clouds hanging over us. There is a bit of a breeze. It's out of the south. It's gusting to 37 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 64%. These clouds, they're not likely to last. They'll be clearing out, setting us up for sunshine, which we'll then enjoy throughout the day, all throughout southern Manitoba, central Manitoba as well. For northern Manitoba, you might deal with a few extra clouds through the day, but even then, above seasonal temperatures, no matter where you are in the province today. So for northern Manitoba, that'll be putting you up mostly in the double digits. Northeastern Manitoba might be a little bit cooler in the high single digits. Here through the south, high teens, some places might even hit the low 20s for today. It's going to remain well above seasonal throughout the rest of this week and into the start of the weekend. By Sunday, things are going to start to change. We'll see an end to the sunshine as the rain moves in and some cooler temperatures to follow.
A local pet rescue organization helps abandoned or neglected dogs and cats find their forever home. Wayward Whiskers is making a difference one paw at a time, and right now you can help them with that mission. Joining us now from Wayward Whiskers Pet Rescue are Elizabeth Fawcett and volunteer Annie Pullman. Hello to both of you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
You also have these gorgeous little kittens here. This one here is Lanny.
That's correct.
And that's Solera.
Exactly.
They're about 3 months old. Okay, let's talk about Wayward Whiskers first before we get to these little ones. What are you and how did you start?
We are a registered nonprofit animal rescue, and we started off as a very small local venture. One of our work teammates noticed that we had some feral cats in the area where they were working with their day job, and there was a mom and 7 kittens, and the mom was in rough shape, and so she had her tips of her ears were frostbit, and she was emaciated, and she had 7 kittens. So we rescued them and rehabilitated them, and then found them forever loving homes. And from there, once that happened, we started noticing there were other rescues in the area that also needed help. So we set up cameras and we started monitoring the cats in the area and what their condition was. And that's sort of how we got started. We started rescuing cats one by one, and then other communities started hearing about our work and started asking for help, and it went as far as up north, and northern communities started asking about dogs. And so we started helping them, and then next thing you know, we decided that we better become a more permanent fixture, so we registered.
So right now you have 30 kittens, cats, and dogs.
Well, we have more than that, but 30 animals are on our website that are listed, that are ready for adoption at this point, because we do have other animals behind the scenes that we're working to rehabilitate. When we bring in a feral cat, there's a misconception. People think that ferals don't make good house pets. They do. They are the most loving animals once they've been rehabilitated. So we are working with those to get them ready.
Okay, tell us about these 2 cuties over here. I love their little collars. Very decorative.
Thank you.
Tell us about them.
Okay, this is Lanny and this is Solera, and they're 3 months old. And basically they were found again in that same area that I talked about. One of the team members, she works in the industrial area, and these kittens were outside, so with their mothers. So we rescued them and brought them in, and we're looking for forever homes for them.
They're so
and fosters too.
Okay, these cats are chilled out.
They are. They are. They're loving. These are cats that were born out in the wild, as we talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
You would never know just by looking at them.
No, you
They're
wouldn't.
very calm and tame and relaxed and really enjoying their time here.
They came in hissing and spitting, but
you can
say,
we didn't see see any of that.
See, they're totally rehabilitated. They're ready to go their forever homes. Yeah.
So right now what's cool is that on your website you have images of the cats and dogs that are up for adoption, and people can sort of stroll and, you know, swipe right or left based on what they think.
Yeah, exactly. And if you send a message to Wayward, if you have a particular, let's say you want an orange cat, you say, do you have any orange cats? You know, we have a way of sending pictures and arranging a meet and greet and getting that type of cat to you, a tuxedo, orange, whatever.
Okay, and if you want to foster a cat, you can do that too.
Oh, we are in desperate need of fosters, always. That's what helps us do what we do. We couldn't do it without fosters. In fact, we're waiting. We have 2 dogs that are being transported in from northern Manitoba, beautiful dogs that we are in need of fosters for them. And fostering is a rewarding experience. We provide all the food, we provide the vetting, and the equipment. All you need to do is provide the love. Even short-term fosters, what we call emergency fosters, help us, because then if you take them for a short period of time, if you can't commit to a long time, it helps us place them in more forever or long-term fosters.
Okay, take a look at these faces. These kittens are up for adoption. If you're interested, contact Wayward Whiskers. We have a link on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
Hello there, Kara Waglin inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Wednesday. And for it, we are taking you to the Bronx. Jays Yankees Game 4, Dalton Varsho pops one up down the left field line. Cody Bellinger has got a beat on it. And he goes all the way across, the sliding grab, an amazing catch from Bellinger, and it was landing in fair territory too. That saved at least 1 run. Didn't help them in the series as the Jays would go on to win and clinch the divisional round, but it is your must-see moment from Wednesday. And coming up tonight on TSN, we got a little Thursday night football for you. We have the Eagles and Giants in action. Pregame for that one gets underway at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all for now from Sports Center. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It's Thursday, October 9th. Charges stayed. What led a Manitoba court to conclude that a disgraced fashion mogul could not be guaranteed a fair trial. A museum's milestone may be missed. Why the St. Boniface Museum might not be ready to reopen for next year's anniversary celebrations. And painting it forward, the master is gone, but proceeds from some of his works will help to support the medium that made him a household name. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. It is 8 o'clock on your Thursday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot in the next hour for you, including our continued discussion on how to be a little bit more friendly to Mother Nature with the modes of transportation to get to either work or play. So we're going to have Joseph Bernacki a couple more times this hour. But the weather, it's been windy today.
A little bit breezy, but
not bad.
Yeah, for Walktober. That's what Joseph's talking about.
Yeah.
I like to have Walk September or Walktember and August. And what a lie. Anyway, I'll still be walking in Walknember and Walksember. 11 degrees right now, but it is breezy with the winds out of the south. They're gusting to 37 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 64%. I always say it's a beautiful day for a walk if you're properly dressed for it. Winds are always the trickiest thing to dress for, so just keep in mind today they are a little bit gusty, especially through the morning hours, but they should be tapering off later on today. Fairly clear conditions. We do have some clouds right over the Winnipeg area. Otherwise, clear through southern and central Manitoba. Northern Manitoba has a few of those clouds as well. They'll stick around through northern Manitoba, but they're probably going to be clearing out here in the southeast, and eventually we'll see plenty more sunshine. Right along that very eastern border, you might deal with a few more clouds, or more than clouds, there could be some passing precipitation through parts of northern Manitoba for later on today as well. Then fairly clear conditions overnight and through tomorrow across the entire province. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine is expected. These above seasonal temperatures that we've been enjoying, well, for the last couple of days. I know it was cool to kick off the week, but then we got up into the mid-teens yesterday. We're going to do it again today and tomorrow and Saturday and even Sunday, even though the sunshine will come to an end with some heavier clouds and some rain that probably begins Saturday night. On the other side of that, we've got temperatures dropping off as that rain continues through holiday Monday and the cool continues through much of next week. Our art today is thanks to Brendan. What a talent with these beautiful fall trees that you've painted for us. We'd love to see whatever art you're working on, so draw, color, or paint and take a picture of that art to email us at winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
A judge in Manitoba has stayed all charges in a sexual assault case involving Peter Nygard.
Obviously, he's satisfied with the outcome.
The judge ruled Nygard's right to a fair trial was violated by police who did not keep record of their first interactions with the complainant in the case. A woman alleges she was sexually assaulted by Nygard at his Winnipeg warehouse in 1993. She spoke to police about a week after the alleged incident but didn't press charges. She later came forward in 2020. Nygard is currently serving an 11-year sentence after he was found guilty on 4 counts of sexual assault in Ontario. The union representing Canada Post workers is now taking aim at Purolator. Canada Post owns 91% of Purolator, and according to the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, the Crown Corporation has been pushing business its way. The union saying when postal workers were bargaining for fair wages and better working conditions, Purolator was offering small business customers steep discounts. Meantime, Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu is urging the union to respond to the Crown Corporation's latest offers, saying the two parties have a responsibility to find a way through the labor impasse. Postal workers have been on strike since September 25th, its third job action in less than a year. St. Boniface Museum is at risk of missing a milestone, closed for repairs in 2024. The museum planned to reopen its doors in 2026 to celebrate the building's 175th year anniversary. But now that goal may be out of reach.
We'll call it a jewel. It's in the heart of Winnipeg, and it is a good part of who we are as Winnipeggers.
The museum showcases Francophone and Métis history, but it's been closed since June 2024 for renovations, and now it might not be able to reopen in time to celebrate the building's 175th anniversary in 2026. The museum has raised $4.5 million for the renovation work, including a large contribution from the federal government. They need another $1.5 million by the end of the year to hit their milestone in time. So they're hoping the city can chip in.
I know I'll be doing what I can for my office to support the initiative. I've been talking to my colleagues.
The city did give $300,000 for museum roof repairs. Still, this might be more than just an anniversary date. Right now, staff are working out of the old City Hall in St. Boniface, where the Louis Riel exhibit is on display. But the museum is missing out on visitor and gift shop revenue. The city's property committee is scheduled to discuss the issue today. 30 paintings by Bob Ross are set to be auctioned to support public television stations in the U.S. The auction will start next month with 3 paintings, and other auctions will follow. All profits will help public TV stations with licensing fees for popular programs that include The Best of Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. Bob Ross Incorporated President Joan Kowalski says the auction will continue Ross's legacy of supporting public television. Here's a look now at what's going on Osborne Street. Looks like things are moving well here. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you have any traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki. We're talking about the Green Action Center and its encouragement for people to take their bike to work, maybe. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, there's been a lot of cyclists, especially in the last few minutes. Again, here we're in South Osborne, and very pleased to be joined by Joanna Kretsch. She's also part of the Sustainable Transportation team with the Green Action Center. Pleasure to have you on our show, Joanna.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, lots of cyclists in the last few minutes. Not too bad of a day for cycling, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I think one of the things people think when they cycle is, am I going to be cold? But you'll actually warm up quite quickly on your route. So even if that temperature gets a little chilly in fall mornings, you can really extend your cycling into the fall because you'll be warm once you start moving.
We've been talking about green modes of transportation all morning long. What's something you would say to encourage somebody if they've never tried cycling to work to take a bike like this and head on down?
I would say it's a good idea to practice your route before you have to get to work, so you're not stressed for your day of work. So really look at your route ahead of time. You can go to gomb.ca and it can map out a route for you to your workplace and practice that ride and just make sure you're prepared for getting to work on time. Yeah.
That's, of course, Go Manitoba is what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's our website.
And through GoTober, we've been talking about it all morning long, Joanna. People can even log their kilometers on their bike as part of the promotion for this month.
Yeah, absolutely. Any form of active transit is accepted, and of course that means cycling.
I have a lot of friends, in university. I should say they take their bike to university. Others who take theirs to work. What do you enjoy? You do this. You were telling us before we were live quite a bit. What do you enjoy the most about taking your bike to work?
I think I like that there's going to be a physical activity element to the start of my day and towards the end of my day. That's really important to me, as well as getting to know the community and getting to know the neighborhood, because you're seeing a lot more than if you were just to take a car somewhere.
Even on the South Osborne Trail, as I've been mentioning, a lot of people using it this morning.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful ride. I was kind of coming through as the sun was coming up, and that's something that you might not take the time to notice if you are taking a car.
Appreciate your time on the show this morning, Joanna. We'll be back one more time at 8:38 with the Green Action Center, talking about Walktober this time, another one of their promotions they're doing for this month. Stay tuned.
I'm back with Whitney Morrison, who runs the HSC Millionaire Lottery, and tonight's an exciting night. Remind us what's going on.
Tonight is the deadline in the Super Bonus, and you could be in to win some fantastic prizes. We are giving away a Toyota 4Runner and a Jet Suite for 12, and that comes with a $1,000 Jets gear gift card, plus a food and beverage credit, plus Indigeno travel vouchers, so you can take a dream vacation, or you can take $55,000 tax-free.
Yeah, plus, the prizes are endless. You can check them out online. But of course, we have to talk about where that money goes, because it's not just about the great prizes that you win. You win just by purchasing your ticket when you find out what's happening with those dollars. So tell us what's going on at HSC these days.
So we are so excited. Our doctors and patients are so excited because we have recently acquired a Da Vinci robot. It's a surgical robot, and incredible. So surgery, usually an extremely invasive, painful procedure with long recovery times. You have to stay in hospital. Now the procedure time has been cut down to like an hour and a half, and then you can go home the same day. Like, it's incredible. And the value of being able to recover in your home with your loved ones is that's priceless. And so that's all thanks to our incredibly generous donors, our incredibly generous ticket buyers. None of that happens without HSC donors who invest in the very best healthcare in our province.
It really is such a remarkable advancement in technology that, as you mentioned, people are, doing the surgery faster, so you're cutting down that recovery time. They're going home, but what that means is you're freeing up beds, so those wait times are shrinking, and it's all happening as a result of the dollars that you spend when you buy that ticket. So again, Super Bonus deadline, midnight tonight. How do they get that ticket?
Go to hscmillionaire.com, request your tickets to be sent to you via email because of the Canada Post strike, or you can give us a call at 204-253-5688.
All right, so you could win all of these fantastic prizes as we've been mentioning, but of course you're a winner just by supporting the HSC Millionaire Lottery. There's a look now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower expert for more than 40 years. It is looking a little bit brighter, but we do have these extra clouds hanging over us only momentarily. I don't think they're going to be lasting throughout the entire day today. We will, however, have above seasonal temperatures to enjoy throughout the day. Beginning at 11 degrees, that's been our coolest temperature, or maybe we drop down to 10. Either way, double digits is the lowest that we've hit. And 1 degree, that would be a seasonal low temperature. It is a little bit closer to those numbers here through the southwest as you're dipping down into the mid or even low single digits. But even there, temperatures will be on the rise, getting up into the high teens and low 20s today with plenty of sunshine, especially through the southwest. We've got those few extra clouds here in the southeast, but even heavier clouds all across northern Manitoba. Though even there, the temperatures above seasonal. In these mid to high single digits, Even Island Lake coming in at double digits right now. It will be a mild day no matter where you are in the province. Just a little bit cloudy across parts of northern Manitoba, but fairly clear through central Manitoba. There's those few clouds that are hanging right over the city right now, but even those are likely to clear as the day goes on. Expect the temperatures to continue to warm us up today, from 11 degrees as kids are getting settled into the classroom to 17 as lunchtime rolls around. And by the time the bus scoots by to pick them up and take them home again, 18 degrees. That's our high temperature for today, and well above a seasonal daytime high of 12 degrees. So mid to high teens through the rest of the week and into the start of the weekend. And while the sunshine disappears Sunday with some rain that begins Saturday night and continues through Sunday, it might even continue, in fact, through Monday. But that'll be an end to those above seasonal temperatures as we're falling off below normal as we're looking through much of next week. We're taking a break right now, but stick around. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
It is World Sight Day, and Specsavers is releasing results from its national survey. Joining us now with more on the survey and its results is Clinical Services Director Naomi Barber. Good morning, Naomi.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Now, Naomi, let's start with this. Can you tell us what the purpose of the Canada Eye Care Report 2025 is?
Sure. Yeah. Specsavers has a mission to reduce avoidable blindness caused by undiagnosed eye disease. And the very first step for us, and a big one, is to really understand the perceptions and the attitudes of Canadians towards optometrists and eye exams, and understand the barriers that exist right now to people accessing eye care. So that was really the purpose of this report.
Very important stuff. Now, what are some of the key findings from the report that Canadians would be surprised or interested to learn about?
There was so much that came out, but I'll pick a couple of key findings that were really interesting for us. The first was that 1/3 of Canadians are overdue for their eye exam. In fact, 17% of people who responded said that their last eye exam was either over 5 years ago or they'd never seen an optometrist. So we've got work to do.
Yes.
To get people engaged. Yeah. The second really interesting area was that over 50% of people responded to say that they felt the cost was a concern when it came to eye care.
Okay.
And as we dig deeper in that data, we understand that some of this comes just purely from confusion over coverage, provincial insurance coverage, extended benefits coverage, and how that plays into their experience with eye care. So work to do there as well. And then the big one, I think, the one that was most interesting, I think, and will be most interesting for the audience, is 42% of people said that if I have a problem with my vision, I think I would know about it.
Yeah.
And as optometrists, we know that that simply isn't true. In fact, most major eye conditions will progress with very little in the way of signs and symptoms, and that's a big misconception out there in the Canadian public, so we need to overcome that.
So with that said, Naomi, is there one thing you'd want Canadians to take away from the report?
Yes, yeah, it is the role of the optometrist and the role of routine eye exams. It's very important for people to consider eye exams as part of a routine and a habit for themselves. The Canadian Association of Optometry recommends that for seniors and for children, every year they should be seeing an optometrist for an eye health check. And for healthy adults, that could be every 2 years or based on an optometrist recommendation. And this is because optometrists can use advanced technology, things like OCT, to fully understand eye health status and check the back of the eye. And that really helps then to educate and inform everybody about how their vision is progressing and to ensure that they're protecting their vision for the long run.
So important. Now, Naomi, I'll ask you quickly, can you share more about optical, I can't even say it, optical coherence tomography, why it's key, a key test during an eye exam?
Beautifully said, you got it. Optical coherence tomography. And really it doesn't matter, it's OCT, and this is very, very important. So this is an advanced 3D eye scan of the back of the eye. This is included as part of all standard eye exams at Specsavers. And we include this because it's incredibly useful in terms of detecting the earliest signs of eye conditions. So things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, diabetes, as it can occur occur in the eye. And this OCT really helps to equip optometrists to give the most informed and comprehensive information to patients about protecting their vision. So every standard eye exam is including that technology at Specsavers.
What would be your advice to someone who thinks their eyesight is okay, so they don't need an eye exam?
As I said, this is, it's a common myth, and we need to really overcome that. I think many people think that they just will see an optometrist to get glasses or get contact lenses if they need them, and that is simply untrue. In fact, for those who have seen an optometrist, what you know is it's a comprehensive eye health check. This is like going to the doctor, but for your eyes. And so it's really important for people to understand that even if they feel they are seeing clearly, that does not mean that their eye health is all in check. But the good news is that optometrists have a wealth of knowledge and experience and expertise and can help inform every individual about a tailored plan to ensure they protect their vision forever.
Naomi, everything you've said is so helpful. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the information provided is for reference only. Please contact an optician or optometrist before making any decisions.
All right, it is cloudy out here this morning, but it's mild and above seasonal, with these temperatures expected to remain above normal throughout the rest of the weekend into the start of the weekend. 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now. There is a bit of a breeze. You're going to notice that wind is out of the south, gusting to 29 clicks. The pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 64%. That breeze, strong as it may be this morning, it will be tapering off later on today. And these clouds that are kind of lingering over the downtown area right now, I can see it's already looking clearer and brighter off to the west, sunny in St. James, and we'll see these clouds clearing out as the day goes on. With the winds tapering off and the temperatures on the rise, it's going to be a beautiful day all across southern Manitoba. Even central Manitoba will enjoy a fair bit of sunshine today, but the further that you go up into the north, there will be some heavier clouds, maybe even a little bit of light scattered precipitation. Some places like Norway House, maybe the Gillam area, could be seeing some light showers, but even there, above seasonal temperatures are expected, and it will be clearing out overnight, so that tomorrow even northern Manitoba gets to enjoy all of that sunshine right into the start of the weekend as well. We've got these above seasonal temperatures to last into the start of the long weekend through Sunday, but the sunshine won't last that long. The sunshine will carry us through till about Saturday, and then Saturday night some rain begins. That'll continue through Sunday, and then you're going to notice on the other side of that the temperatures dropping off, and it will be a little bit cooler for Thanksgiving Monday and throughout much of next week. A beautiful shot of the sun setting out in the Cross Lake area. Thank you to Lorna for this stunning photo, and keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Mistito Dow is a doctor of optometry. There's a big day coming up. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, October 9th, around the world, it is a global event, and it's World Sight Day. And the purpose of World Sight Day is to increase awareness about eye health and to also garner interest worldwide about improving eye health. Keep the momentum going with government here local and across the country and in the world, increasing access to eye health, in just creating eye awareness it's very important.
Yeah. Let's talk, because I'm sure that those healthy eye habits contribute to our overall health.
Yes. Well, and the biggest thing about eye health, and the interesting thing is people think that if they have good vision, that their eyes are healthy. They think 20/20 is healthy vision, which unfortunately many people have diseases that by the time we know that our vision isn't perfect, it's too late. 75% of diseases are preventable if caught early. And most people value their eye health and yet aren't coming in and getting it checked. And good health is important for just employment, for education, for just the betterment of society and quality of life. If you have good eye health, it's very important to most people, and yet about probably maybe not even 40% will actually get their eyes checked.
Interesting. And I think it's one of those things, as you kind of alluded to, that we take for granted. If you can see, you assume that everything is okay. So what are some of those problems, I suppose, that we may not know about?
Well, a lot of people, especially headaches and blurry vision. Blurry vision, of course, makes sense, but by the time it's actually blurry, they don't really equate it to anymore. Like they'll look at like night driving and glare off of headlights and not equate it to eye health. And so that's the big thing that we worry about. Like I said, about 1.1 million people, I think, have actual vision loss. Billion people, actually. And it's equated that it's going to be projected, they've done studies, by 2050 it'd be 1.7 billion. Wow. Which is scary, and that's complete vision loss. So we really want to get people out there and not realizing, like a lot of people don't realize that for kids, eye exams are covered. So we recommend them getting checked usually between 6 to 9 months. They get the first one, at least one more between 2 to 5, and usually yearly now if they're in school because of just eye strain and everything that's happening. And that's covered by Manitoba Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good to know, right? Because then at least is one less thing that you're going to have to be paying out of pocket for, of course. And so this whole day is just about raising awareness. We talked about, you know, kids and their regular eye exams, but adults too, it's necessary. How do we go about finding our eye doctor?
Well, adults should be checked every 2 years.
Okay.
And if they don't have an eye doctor, they should go to optometrist.mb.ca to find an optometrist near you.
All right. Your eye health, don't take it for granted, is something you want to stay on top of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Age is just a number when it comes to doing something you love. Colin from the UK is 88 years old, and he has spent most of that time on the court. He first picked up a racket at age 11, and he hasn't stopped since, even when he was serving in the military. Colin is still playing and coaching the next generation of players. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is relax. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word relax with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Beautiful temperatures that we're waking up to this morning. It's 11 degrees with winds out of the south, 29 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 64%. You can see those clouds starting to clear a little bit. Looking a little bit brighter out there, and eventually it's just going to be a beautiful sunny day ahead as the last of these clouds that are right over Winnipeg continue to push off to the east. There's a few more clouds across parts of northern Manitoba. Even those look like they're clearing out somewhat. And that sunshine is going to warm us up nicely today to a high of 18 degrees. Sure, we're dealing with some stronger winds this morning, but only through the morning hours. Later on today, the winds that are going to be out of the south, at times gusting to 50 kilometers per hour this morning, will be tapering off, shifting out of the northwest for this afternoon. And 18 degrees in the sunshine. Talk about a beautiful and above seasonal day. And even tonight, though we're going to be dipping a lot cooler than we did this past night. For example, we stayed in the double digits this morning, and that won't be the case this coming night, down to 4 degrees. But that would be a seasonal low temperature. The winds remaining on the lighter side, the sky remaining clear, and that means plenty of sunshine again for tomorrow as the mercury is up in the mid-teens once again. And even Saturday, even Sunday, in fact, temperatures well above seasonal. With 12 degrees being a normal daytime high, we're expecting 18 and then 17 degrees as we're moving into the long weekend. Now, by Saturday night, some rain begins. That brings an end to the sunshine, and then suddenly an end to those mild and above seasonal temperatures, with the mercury dropping off for holiday Monday and throughout much of next week.
As Ottawa tries to secure tariff relief, we also learn that U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has ruled out chances of an auto deal.
The tough negotiator that we hired. We have the best deal with the Americans. And the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal.
Sources say Lutnick said the U.S. could keep buying parts from Canada, but that's about it. Lutnick is said to have made that comment during a summit in Toronto. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a peace plan for Gaza. The agreement paves the way for a pause in the 2-year war, as well as the pullback of Israeli troops and the release of the remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. This is the first phase of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire, but uncertainty remains over some of the main sticking points, including how Hamas will disarm and who will govern Gaza. Plus, Gaza's civil defense has issued a warning saying, quote, not to move or return at this time, with reports that Israeli tanks have opened fire in at least one part of the Gaza Strip this morning. A ceasefire is expected to come into effect after the Israeli government approves the agreement. A provincial program offering a rebate for security upgrades to your home is being renewed. The government is once again accepting applications for its security rebate program. The program offers up to $300 back for the cost of security upgrades, such as cameras, alarm systems, locks, and other equipment. It's open to homeowners and tenants and can be used towards items purchased on or after August 23rd of last year. There's no deadline to apply, but the program will end once the funds run out. You can head to the province's website to apply. A separate program for businesses is expected to launch later in the year. The puck is set to drop on the Winnipeg Jets regular season. Winnipeg starts the NHL season at home tonight against the Dallas Stars. The Jets won the President's Trophy last season for leading the league in regular season points, but had their playoff run cut short by the Stars in the Western Conference semifinals. Game time is 7 p.m. Scientists at the University of Calgary are launching a groundbreaking study, but it involves an unusual request from participants. They're asking for your toenails to learn more about why even those who seem perfectly healthy are diagnosed with lung cancer. As CTV's Mark Villani explains, this research could lead to earlier screening and potentially life-saving treatments.
Basio loves the outdoors, so whether hiking in the mountains or relaxing at the beach, the Calgary woman was always active and healthy.
I ate well, I checked all the chemicals in my cosmetics, I was very conscious about my health.
But a nagging cough wouldn't go away, and doctors noticed something wrong.
I was diagnosed at 47 with lung cancer, having never smoked.
Smoking is the leading cause of lung cancer, but number 2 is radon, an odorless radioactive gas linked to Canada's high uranium levels in soil.
The world's most radon-exposed people on this planet.
So to investigate, scientists at the University of Calgary are analyzing something unusual, toenail clippings. They say when radon is inhaled, it precipitates into solid lead, and toenails are a main place to find it.
Toenails are a very good long-term, what we call biological archive of long-term exposure.
The samples are collected and melted down to measure tiny traces of lead-210, the radioactive byproduct left behind when radon decays in the body.
And that's our clue.
Researchers also tested radon levels in participants' homes and found that higher levels of radioactive lead in toenails matched homes with elevated radon readings.
To use that information to say something about disease or exposure to toxic elements in the environment, that's where I think there's a lot of opportunity.
40 people have had their toenails analyzed so far, but new funding from the Canadian Cancer Society aims to expand the study to 10,000 participants nationwide, promising news for some lung cancer patients who say this could lead to earlier treatments and screening.
So I think for lung cancer patients being diagnosed, there's hope. And this is one of those things that will help with hope.
And if all goes well, the hope is that a simple toenail test will ultimately save lives.
That's why these studies are so critical.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Let's take a look at what's happening now in traffic on the St. James Bridge. Looks good here. No issues to tell you about. If you see problems out there, though, please let us know. And let's take a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.34. The provincial average is at $1.27. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26. And the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.18. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
For our question of the day, we wanted to know, what's your favorite Winnipeg Jets memory? April's is any interview with Dustin Byfuglien. Marlene says her funny memory is watching an old Jets game at the old arena. She didn't know teams switched sides and she stood up and cheered for the wrong team. Thank you so much for your responses. Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki. We're talking about green ways to be more active in terms of getting to work or maybe going to play. You could take the bus, you could ride a bike, you could run, you could walk, you could do all kinds of things. And the Green Action Center is encouraging more people to do that. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, it's been a nice morning with the Green Action Center. I'm very pleased at this time to be joined by Ariel Desrochers. She's the team lead of the transportation team, sustainable transportation team with the Green Action Center. Pleasure to have you on our show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So we've talked about all different modes of transportation: cycling, carpooling, taking the bus. Of course, you can't go wrong with walking if within reason. Talk to us about some great opportunities to be able to walk to work.
Yeah, so walking is a great thing that you can continue to do once the summer is over. Obviously, we still have some really great weather happening, and walking is super accessible. You don't really need any gear like you do with a bike or a bus pass. I mean, good shoes are always a must, but they're not a requirement. So yeah, walking to work is an excellent way to get some exercise at the beginning or at the end of the day. You just usually have to set aside a bit more time. Like I personally love to walk to work. I normally bus, but when I walk, I just set aside, 20 extra minutes and I'm good to go.
And of course, we talked about Go-Tober all morning long, but there's also Walktober in place right now. You guys are encouraging kids to try to walk to school once a week this month. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so Green Action Center runs 2 events in October, one of them being Go-Tober, but the other is Walktober. So that one is focused on getting kids active before and after the school day. And yeah, we encourage kids and families as well as teachers and their classrooms to just walk as much as they can. And it can be to school, it can be elsewhere, if you're going to like an appointment or you're going to your friend's house. And we provide some resources so that we can make it a little bit easier for people so they can track their kilometers. Teachers can do that with their classrooms, parents can do it with their kids. And then just to make things a little bit fun, we always offer prizes for like registration as well as like the most kilometers walked for a classroom, for example.
And if people missed the earlier announcement on Go-Tober, you can start today and start logging your minutes if you cycle, if you carpool. Give us a quick recap on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just have to sign up at gomb.ca and yeah, you essentially can log kilometers for walking, cycling, even transit, as long as you know like how far you've gone. And yeah, you can start anytime during October. It's super easy to use, and we also have prizes for that, which just makes things a little bit more fun.
Right on. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Ariel, and everyone from the rest of your team. Lots of traffic this morning on South Osborne. We'll throw it over for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Joseph is wearing a toque and he's got gloves on.
Yeah, I would say he's a little overdressed this morning, but hey, no, I get it, because if you're spending long periods of time outdoors, you do need to be properly dressed. I mean, I step out here, I'm only out here for a minute at a time, so it's okay. I did need all of those extra layers earlier on this week, and it's windy, and the winds are always the toughest to dress for. That's when you want something covering your ears, for sure. That's what my hair is for this morning. Anyway, I was just noticing on my rooftop pool, okay, I don't actually have a rooftop pool. Anybody that follows me on Instagram, I often reference my rooftop pool, which is just the rooftop next to me that collects a lot of water. And you remember all that rain over the weekend? Well, there's still water sitting in there, and there are waves this morning. It's like a tide pool in the rooftop next to me. These winds are strong. They will be tapering off. Right now, they're out of the south. They're gusting to 29 kilometers per hour, or that's actually a sustained wind at 29 clicks, but that should be tapering off later on today. The sun is up. There's a few extra clouds out here right now, but they will be likely clearing out as the day goes on. And our temperatures have been above seasonal all morning long. In fact, at 11 degrees right now, we're a lot closer to a normal daytime high of 12. But we're going to surpass that, headed up instead into the mid to high teens all across southern Manitoba, and a few lucky folks might even hit 20 degrees today. Northern Manitoba is going to be an above seasonal day for you as well, but there will be some heavier clouds, and a couple of places, maybe like Norway House, Gillam, you could be seeing some scattered precipitation later today, but that'll be clearing out, and you're going to get back to that sunshine for tomorrow. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Good morning. If you wanted your sign to stand out in the 1980s, neon lights were often added. As times changed, so did the signs we used to advertise businesses or services. But what happens to those old signs? Well, many ended up at SRS signs on Notre Dame. And as CTV's John Hendricks shows you, a huge number of them are being auctioned off.
This may look like a giant outdoor Scrabble set, but these letters are a small piece of Winnipeg and indeed Canadian history.
Here's Sears and here's the Bay, both gone companies now, part of retail history.
Now they're both part of a huge sign collection at SRS Signs. The company began its life back in 1999, servicing existing signs with burnt-out light bulbs.
I would drive around the city at night, look for signage that was out, and then I would approach the people the next day, either telling them or showing them a picture of their signage that was burnt out.
Today, the company has about 30 employees, making many of the signs you see across the city.
We've made the Winnipeg sign when it was made, and we also did the Garbage Hill sign.
But as new signs go up, old ones must come down. Like the old banner at the Burton Cummings Theatre and the Walker Theatre sign before it, plus a wide assortment of fast food, fine dining, even Winnipeg Transit signs.
And now with Winnipeg Transit changing the bus routes again to a new look, which is blue and silver, I thought before all the kids and everybody forget what they used to look like, now is a good time to get them out.
And not just out in this parking lot behind the store. Each and every one of these signs is being auctioned off, and Shane Story's collection of signs will get a lot smaller. But it's only thinning out, not vanishing completely.
Everything that you see here, I've kept my own. I have a small set of Sears letters. I kept a small set of the Bay letters. I just don't want to be a hoarder. I'm a collector.
And on October 28th, other collectors or just people looking for a connection to the past will get a chance to bring these signs home. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
All right, we have overstuffed ourselves and we still have leftovers. What are we going to do with them? We turn to Shahir Massoud. Shahir, welcome back. Happy to have this chat because I know you've done something especially creative, not just those boring turkey sandwiches. You got something better than that, right?
And you know, I got so much better than that. And if you go to butterball.ca, Terry, you know, over the years, I've made a Mexican pozole soup. I've made, you know, meat patties. I made all sorts of stuff. And with my leftovers, whether it's the roast or the whole bird, this is my family's favorite, and it's the easiest recipe I've ever made.
Ooh, okay.
And it's the one they want over and over and over again. But there's a couple tips and tricks that's going to elevate your pasta game. And with my leftover turkey, I'm going to make an Alfredo, basically, but with a couple ways to elevate it. So any great Alfredo, for me, begins with cream, heavy cream, and milk. And the reason why I want both is I want the richness, but I don't want it too heavy. And the order of these ingredients matters, Terry. The milk and the cream at the beginning, and I want to reduce it down to thicken it just so. Now, here's where I add a little bit of my own pizzazz to elevate. Mustard, a little bit of Dijon mustard.
Oh, I love
Dijon.
Yes, yes.
You know, you don't want it mustardy per se,
no,
but it just gives it some nuance.
Yeah.
Just a hint, you got it. Now, here's my other trick. What do I say every year, Terry? When you're doing your whole bird from Butterball, 1.5 pounds per guest, that gives you enough to make a stock. And look at the flavor, the depth that you can get from the dark roasting of the bones. Oh. Make the stock. It really goes a long way. One thing also I like to do when I make my turkey stock, I'll freeze it in ice cube trays. Oh. So if I'm making a quick Alfredo like this, I can take a little cube of that stock that I've worked so hard to make and plop it in. So a little bit of turkey stock.
Would you throw
in
in like just the actual ice cube, or would you like melt it first and then throw it in liquid?
No. Okay. Listen, it'll melt into the sauce in a second. So, you know what I mean? It's as if you've made your own homemade kind of bouillon cube, except it's real. There's no preservatives and everything. So already I see that my Alfredo is getting darker, it's thickening, and again, the order of everything makes sense. Remember, the turkey's already cooked. So I don't want to overcook it. I've gone to the trouble of making it perfect. Now, into this sauce, another tip. Not just parm.
I just want to give you a heads up. We've only got a minute left, so you pace yourself accordingly.
Parm and pecorino.
Okay.
Parm and pecorino, both cheeses.
I love it.
One knob of cold butter to swirl to emulsify. Now your turkey goes in. Now, I'm keeping mine plain because my kids are picky. I get it. and then your pasta. But you can totally add sun-dried tomato to this, mushrooms, arugula, spinach. Really go nuts. Have fun with the shape of the pasta. Here I've got a shape called Fiorelli with all these curves.
That is
You
going
can
to be
use
like dinosaur
rigatoni.
shaped. It could be.
I mean, it could be. They're not that simple characters, Terry. My goodness. And then at the end, look, I'm giving it more turkey stock to loosen it up. At the end, your favorite herb, I've got parsley. You could go with some basil. You could go with some cilantro even. And in real time, in seconds, that leftover, all the work. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. All the work that you've done to make your stock really influences the flavor of your sauce. And you've got the creaminess. You've got the 2 cheeses. You've got the little hint of Dijon. And that, of course, cubed up turkey. Whether you're using your leftover turkey from the whole bird or from one of our roasts, it's going to taste great in a simple Alfredo that's been elevated.
I love this. You're right. That was one of the easiest dishes that I've watched you prepare. It sounds amazing. And talking of like the cooler fall weather, you're looking for a good comfort food dish? Oh my goodness, that is on the top of my list.
Eat staples.
Love
all
it.
staples you got.
Thank you, Shahir. All the best.
Thanks, Theory. See you later.
Think Turkey is brought to you by Manitoba Turkey Producers and Butterball. Meal ideas online.
Yeah, and that cooler weather is coming on the other side of the weekend, in fact, but a few more days of these beautiful temperatures to enjoy before that colder weather sets in. 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now with south winds 29 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 64%, and we're seeing a return to the sunshine now after having a few extra clouds hanging over us for the last hour or so, but those are beginning to clear out, and it's looking so much better now. With that sunshine will come the warmth. We've got some really nice temperatures. Yes, it's windy this morning, sure, but those winds are even expected to taper off later on this afternoon as they shift out of the south. No, sorry, they're out of the south right now. They'll be shifting out of the north as they taper off. 18, that's where we're headed today. We're going to do it with a fair bit of sunshine over us, and the rest of this week into the start of the weekend, plenty of sunshine and above seasonal temperatures. Saturday night, the rain begins. That'll continue through Sunday, though the temperatures are still looking good for Sunday. It's holiday Monday and much of next week where we're going to feel that cooler weather settling in and some scattered precipitation off and on. We're taking a break right now, but stick around. We'll be coming back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, Terry, this is just in time for Thanksgiving. Some maritime turkeys doing their best to make themselves scarce. We don't speak turkey, but they left us a message that seems loud and clear here. The homeowner says the birds have been hanging around all summer, but this is only the second time they've actually appeared at the window.
I don't know who wrote this. Says we don't speak turkey.
Yeah.
I do.
Terry does, apparently. And most dogs sleep with a toy or a blanket, but not this pup.
Duke is a thief. Dukey, honey, you can't have that.
I follow Duke.
You never know.
Oh my goodness. Duke the Golden likes bringing household items to his bed at night, from a whiteboard to a laundry basket and even a purse. He sees it, he'll take it.
Oh,
and his
bless you,
owners
Duke.
wouldn't change a thing. Look at his little face.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a plan.
Duke has my whole heart. Duke doesn't even know that my heart.
I might have to follow Duke. He's got a cup. That's a good one. Well, these grandparents go all out when it's their turn to take the kids. They arrive in a decked out golf cart and then pour some fancy juice in champagne glasses before handing out cookies. And this is just picking the kids up. Imagine what they planned for a sleepover.
Oh my goodness.
This is so sweet. That does it for us. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.